It is Monday, and thank you for joining us this afternoon here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. Across from me, I got two amazing people. I have Carlene Bragg. I have James Brierton. How are you guys doing?
Hi. Great.
I had to bring the energy on Monday. It's like when Monday rolls around, it could be one or two things, right? Mm-hmm. It is, okay, I'm bringing the energy.
You got to bring the energy.
Or it could be weekend hangover.
Right.
As in, I had a lot happening this weekend, either with just being outside or with the kids.
Right.
Look, I understand it, but I'm choosing to bring the energy.
We're being positive.
Being positive.
Positive.
Start of a new week.
New
First
chapter.
Monday of August.
Yeah.
Can't believe August is here.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, I thought we were in February last week. And I did not think we were in February.
It feels like
we were in the
it's
throes.
just flying by.
We were in the throes of summer last week.
That's true.
But it feels like this year is just sort of speeding along. I know I'm rambling right now. Bear with me. However, we have a lot going on today. A lot of news, a lot of things to get to. We have some special guests coming in here in the 1 o'clock hour. But we'll start with our top headlines for today. Talked about the weather. Let's stick with the weather because noticeably cooler than it was this time last week. This time last week, we were like in the hundreds. Feels like in the hundreds. Now it feels amazing
Wonderful.
outside.
Did you take your stroll?
I did.
I did too.
Oh, it
great.
felt so nice.
It was worth it.
This weekend was nice, although it was misty and
It was
rainy.
nice relief. I took it.
Happily. It was a win for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the boat.
Oh, you still want to bring up the boat?
We'll get back to that. Carlin was on the boat this past weekend, but we'll get back to
I didn't go on the boat. Spoiler alert.
We'll get back to it. We'll go back to it, Carlin.
All right, we'll put a pin in it. We'll put a pin in it.
So we got some rain chances. High end today is supposed to be about 80, low 80s. But it feels amazing outside. We are tracking the tropics. Tropical storm Dexter is in the Atlantic right now brewing. We're keeping an eye on that. Our next headline: school is back for students in South Carolina. We're talking about, let me see if my memory serves me correctly, Fort Mill, York District 1, Rock Hill, Clover. Am I missing any? Am I missing one at all?
I can't get my head wrapped around it as a parent of a North Carolina student. And I have 3 more weeks left.
Yeah, 3 more weeks, man. Count them days.
Hey, guess what?
Oh,
Happy first day of school.
Can you name these beautiful kids?
I
These
know.
Some good-looking kids
good-looking
there.
kids right here.
kids.
I think that class would. I pray for that teacher.
That kid on the right is trouble.
Oh man, and the kid next to the kid on the right, trouble.
Oh, stop it.
No, she
not
was
with
an
those.
angel.
Not with those clips in my hair. I was not that much
She
trouble.
was an angel.
I was an
Oh,
angel.
shout out to a happy first day of school for those kids in South Carolina. That's Jay
You sent me
Mama.
2 photos. You said I'll do you one better. I'll send
did.
you 2 photos.
did.
I was confused by that. I was
Yeah.
like, are you a twin? What
No,
am I looking at?
it was so nice. You had to do it twice.
Right, you
Yeah.
went at that age. You didn't want me to double me because I have a really great story for this. So my mom, and I'll make it quick. My teacher kept complaining. This is when I was like in 3rd or 4th grade. She kept complaining. She's like, "Hey, it was 4th grade. Hey, Nick keeps getting up and socializing with his classmates."
Like during class?
Yeah, during class.
Oh, okay.
And so I would tell my mom, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that."
No, of course not.
My mom popped up on me.
No.
And
school?
I was. She took a lunch break, early lunch break, and she popped up, and I was sort of bobbing and weaving, going from desk to desk. Boom, 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 boom. Here I am. And I look over, and she's right there. You know the classroom where it's kind of like a rectangle window, like a
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I look over, make eye contact with Cassandra, and she
With your mom?
and she does one of the I'm wagging my finger over. She does that. She waves me over, and I'm caught. My heart
Sunk.
Oh.
That's like straight out of a cartoon.
Yeah. It really happened, 4th grade. Can't remember the teacher's name right now. It'll hit me at some point. But can we put the kids back up on the screen? I want to name them. That's Jay Mama, y'all. That's me. Double me.
Double
That's
you.
Carlene.
That's me.
And that's James.
That's James.
When I had hair.
Yeah.
Man, hey, some beautiful kids right here. Some beautiful kids. All right, first day back to school for many South Carolina students. That was us years ago. So there you go.
Happy first day.
Happy first day.
Students, parents, teachers, everyone. Happy first day.
Good luck, everybody. I know it's going to be a successful school year.
I'm gonna derail this, but I finally figured out I'm looking at on Net 80 on router 4. If you want to pop it up, because it was really confusing me.
Okay.
This is a live feed out of Colorado.
Okay.
Sorry, this is totally unscripted, and I'm messing up Carly's flow here.
It's okay.
But these are aerials coming to us from our content partners at KUSA, and I'm hoping that if the shot widens out a little bit, you'll see there are 4 giant tires near this railroad crossing. Here comes the shot widening out now. And I was trying to figure out what type of vehicle it was. It's just off the top of the frame. I hope the helicopter zooms out. But a train here in Colorado has crashed into a semi-truck. Oh. And what it is that we were looking at on the feed is just the wheels from the bottom of the trailer. The actual axles and giant tires. Look at this here. I was trying to figure out from afar. I was like, what is that? Because it looked like one of those the SWAT team rolls up with one of those robotic things. Yeah. And I was like, what am I looking at? But it literally got ripped right off the back of this tractor trailer, because you can see right inside the boxes and things that were being carried inside this truck. So this is in Aurora, Colorado. This is part of the RTD A-line train. Obviously, lanes are closed there. There's a large first responder response. This is according to 9 News out there. There were 55 passengers on the train at the time of the crash. 3 people suffered minor injuries, according to the local police department. So
and that was did you say a semi?
Yeah,
Semi.
Okay. Like a tractor trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, because I know you guys had another piece of content I think you were going to get to, but in our live Impact News studio here, where we can see all these feeds coming in, I was just completely thrown off by those 4 giant wheels that I couldn't figure out what they went to. But you can see here, and you can see it looks like the front of the train suffered obviously some broken glass there.
No, this is good. This is the point of live Impact News. When news happens and there's breaking news that we see right here on our screen, we want to make sure we get that to you as soon as possible. But you take a look there at the damage. It looks like officials are sort of surveying this train. And James, I don't know if you said this or not. Everybody is okay on that train. Do we know that?
3 people suffered minor injuries, according to our news partners out there. They didn't say which 3 people. My thought right now, of course, goes to whether or not there was somebody in the front of this train operating the train, because they would be closest to the impact if so.
Right.
And it looks like the back of the truck was impacted. So, I mean, overall, it just says 3 people suffered minor injuries. There were 55 people in total on the train. And there you can see, it looks like some sort of maybe local commuter rail in Aurora.
And if you're familiar with this area, I just pulled up KUSA's article. That's our content partners there in Denver. Multiple lanes are closed near Smith Road and Sable Boulevard after a crash involving, as James mentioned, a semi-truck and the RTD A-line train. Eastbound and westbound lanes of Smith Road are closed, as well as northbound lanes of Sable Boulevard at the railroad tracks, and that's according to Aurora Police there in Colorado. Just some backstory again, James. As he mentioned, there were 55 people on the train at the time of the crash. RTD has confirmed to 9 News that the train operator was taken to the hospital.
Okay.
So we can confirm that. And as James mentioned earlier, according to Aurora Police, 3 people on the train reported with minor injuries.
So our audience here in the Carolinas may know, if they've ever visited the area, this is the line that runs from Denver International Airport. It also has stops in downtown Denver. It goes out to Aurora. So it's the A-line of their local commuter rail.
And I'm always surprised. I know we go all over the world when it comes to news, but I'm always surprised when people talk to me about our show, how they feel connected to these certain areas whenever we bring them, or they've been to certain areas and they know. So I never want to underestimate what our viewer here, just because we're in Charlotte, what they know, because a lot of folks are familiar with some of the breaking news and some of the things that we cover in the areas that we cover. So this is a good example of that. And James bringing us some great context on this. But you see, it is taped off. That's quite a few, quite a big perimeter as well.
Yeah, and again, from this angle, you can see why I was so confused. Now that we know it's a truck, it's a little bit more discernible to me. But when I just saw this, it's like miniature vehicle with 4 wheels on it. I was like, what is that?
All right, so I want to read you what KUSA, and are they doing any continuous coverage? Do you know?
I'm gonna look into it.
Okay, I just want to check. So, okay, just in case you missed it and you're just tuning in, an A-line train and a semi-truck crash in Aurora, Colorado. This crash happened near Sable Boulevard and Smith Road in Aurora. Multiple lanes are closed near Smith Road and Sable Boulevard after this crash. Now, eastbound and westbound lanes of Smith Road are closed, as well as northbound lanes of Sable Boulevard at the railroad tracks, according to Aurora Police. I'm reading this information from our content partners there in Denver, KUSA, also known as 9 News. There is a large, as you can see there, large first responder presence in the area. Drivers, if you're there, if you know somebody in the area, expect or tell the folks there to expect to see a significant delays. Now, drivers should consider using Chambers and Peoria as alternate routes. And I say this just in case we have family, friends, you know anybody in that area, or if you're living in that area and you're watching the stream, this is, again, drivers should consider using Chambers and Peoria as alternate routes. That's according to Aurora Police. But that is a helicopter shot of what's happening right there, bird's eye view of the scene after this crash.
Nick, as you were talking, I was watching the helicopter continue to orbit, and there is a piece of metal on the tracks in front of the train, and I can't say for sure what it is, but I'm wondering if it's a piece of the tractor trailer, like the back door or a side panel that just kind of got caught in the impact and then went with the train as the train went down the tracks.
That's what I thought was interesting, too, because it's not the front, it's the back of the semi that's now on, you can see right there on the ground. I also wonder what the semi was carrying. It doesn't look like there's a lot of debris. Maybe it was an empty hauler. Who knows? But
it says Unigroup on the side of the semi.
Yeah, in one of the shots, it looked like they were, at least from what we could see towards the back of the trailer, like maybe cardboard boxes.
Okay.
Like items that were contained. You're right, though, Carlene. Like in other instances where we've seen trucks and trains collide, sometimes the cargo gets spilled everywhere.
Right.
And that doesn't seem to be the case in this place.
So I did Google Unigroup, and that's what was on the side of the semi. It says Unigroup is the nation's largest household goods relocation organization.
Okay.
That's a brief description.
Okay.
Just making sure I didn't miss anything.
Just kind of a transportation company.
Yep, and then that tow truck there is going to be equipped to carry out a truck of this size. It's obviously a bigger than usual tow truck.
And it's missing a set of wheels.
It is missing a set of wheels.
Right.
That is
so it
going
makes
to be
it a little more complicated here for a cleanup.
Yeah. I'm looking right now. This is just north of downtown Aurora.
Okay.
It's probably not too many stops away from Denver International Airport. So it's essentially halfway between downtown Denver and the airport itself.
Okay.
Interesting.
And there's that piece of metal that I was talking about. That looks like maybe the back door or a side panel.
Right.
The door of the truck.
And it was also of interest to me that this front car on the train has a set of ladders that were either used to ingress or get people out of the train. I didn't see ladders elsewhere on the train, but I'm sure they must have probably helped people get off the train, because there's probably a decent sized little gap or jump there, because without a platform, you figure how many feet above the ground are you?
Right.
And again, I'm just doing a little deep dive on Unigroup. Again, household goods relocation company. Unigroup operates as the parent company of two of the largest household moving companies in the U.S., United Van Lines and Mayflower Transit.
That makes me wonder if it's like movers.
Yeah, that's what.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It looks like a moving company, but it's International Home Moving Services.
Yeah.
More than 60 years. Okay.
So that's, I didn't see anything. I haven't seen anything sort of. So it's one of those things we don't know if they were on the way to pick up anything or if they had something already in the truck. But again, we've seen numerous semi truck crashes or tractor trailer crashes.
And we don't know anything about the truck driver, do we?
We just know that the truck driver We don't. I'm getting that confused with the train driver, the train operator, but
We don't know anything about the
about the driver. But we do know that the train operator was taken to the hospital, and as James has mentioned, 55 passengers were on the train at the time of the crash. 3 people on the train reported with minor injuries. So
and the local transit agency is replacing trains right now with shuttle buses in both directions, eastbound and westbound through this area. So for anybody who's trying to arrive or depart from the airport to get to Union Station in downtown Denver, they're going to be replacing these trains with shuttle buses for the time being, because even as we're continuing to watch this, there's no trains going in the other direction either. The whole section of rail
There's
is
some
closed.
boxes.
yeah,
like you
I
said,
was about to say
James.
you could see some boxes. So it looks like everything was boxed up, I guess, and
If you're a moving company,
Yeah.
everything would be boxed up,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
and I guess it prevented those items from scattering. And it looks like they're still intact in the box. I can't speak for what's inside the box, but the box
Just
looks like
wild
it's
in
intact.
itself.
And is that part of the railroad? Okay, yeah, that's
Isn't
the
that
stop
the
hand.
little arm?
Yeah, or the arm, I should say. It looks like it.
Looks like
did
it.
look like part of the crossing arm. I'm not exactly sure.
We're learning as
Yeah,
as
we're
fast as y'all are
learning.
learning this. So we're just kind of describing what we're seeing right now.
Again, this is a live look at the scene there in Aurora, Colorado. A train crashes into a semi-truck. Quite the scene there. A pretty big scene. It's a pretty big perimeter just from looking from this vantage point. Police have it blocked
I'm just
off.
how they're gonna take this hauler doesn't
Yeah.
have wheels on part of it, so you gotta. how are you gonna
Yeah, it's.
how are you gonna get it out?
And then it's one of those things like, how do you get it out? Also, moving the train.
Yep.
As well.
There's at least four sections of track here, and it would seem that at least 2 of them are used by this commuter rail. I'm just thinking that if you're the truck driver and you've got at least 4 tracks you've got to clear, what looks to be a slight incline, was the truck late to get off the tracks? Was it stuck in
Right.
traffic? Was it stuck? Because that happens sometimes too. I mean, these are all hypothetical scenarios.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, we have, or if somebody took any video
Yeah.
of the crash or those moments right after the crash or right before. We just live. I ask that because we live in a day now where, hey, folks are there on the
Yep.
scene. They take cell phone video. We see it. We are able to put a little bit more context around
That's how we
what
get
exactly.
news now.
That's how we get news now. So yeah, that is a look at the scene there in Aurora, Colorado. Just to catch you up, multiple lanes are closed near Smith Road and Sable Boulevard after a crash involving a semi-truck and the RTD A-line train. Eastbound and westbound lanes of Smith Road are closed, as well as northbound lanes of Sable Boulevard at the railroad tracks. Now, according to Aurora Police. Now, as you can see here, that is a large first responder presence in the area. And drivers, look, if you're in the area, if you know anybody in the area, expect to see significant delays. That's according to Aurora Police. Drivers should consider. Now, I want you to listen up. If you know anybody in that area, or if you are in that area listening to this stream right now, consider using Chambers and Peoria as alternate routes. RTD, as we have mentioned before, confirmed to 9 News, our content partners there in Denver, Colorado, that the train operator was taken to the hospital. There were 55 people on the train at the time of the crash, according to RTD. 3 people on the train reported with minor injuries. So right now, RTD has set up a shuttle bus service between Central Park and 40th/airport stations. Riders should check service alerts for travel impact. So that is for those passengers on the train. But if you are just commuting throughout the area, this could cause and will cause, according to police, significant delays on your commute.
And there's 50 people now.
Yep.
Something waiting to get where they need to go.
Yeah.
I have some statistics on this section of track. According to the Department of Transportation, there's about 146 trains a day that come through here.
Okay.
And they travel at speeds. I just lost it. Hang on a second. I want to say it's at upward of 70 miles an hour.
It's got to be pretty fast to get those wheels to just pop off like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Same thing.
Maximum speed is 79. The typical speed range at this particular crossing is between 70 and 79 miles an hour, and that is the train's speed.
Okay.
And you may hear clicking because we are clicking.
We are clicking away.
Trying to find more information, but that is that's to look at the wheels on the back of that semi that you're looking at right there on your screen, and the guy, crew member, sweeping away some of that debris there. So we'll keep an eye on this as this develops. James,
you can keep a box on the screen too.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep a box on the screen just to keep an eye. You can keep an eye on it with us. Again, we are all learning in real time about this crash here. Semi against a train there. Again, we'll have more information there. And this is from Aurora, Colorado, live here on the scene. Let's jump back out now. Let's get the weather.
Let's get the weather.
Yeah, you may notice is a lot cooler compared to last Monday. I know a lot of people are thankful for that. I surely am. But let's get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Majestic Storm. Let's take a listen now.
Well, good Monday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm, and if you love the weather over the weekend, the clouds, the rain, just the overall cooler conditions, I think you're really going to like what we have in store looking at our full 7-day forecast. First things first, though, today the cool weather will continue. Not only that, but we will have much more cloud coverage than sunshine. However, only a small chance for a few pop-up showers. Those rain chances tomorrow will really increase. And then taking a look at our full 7-day forecast, each and every day temperatures will stay below where we should be for this time of the year. Yesterday, believe it or not, we only topped off at 76 degrees. I believe it. I was outside and it felt mighty cool. Today we're forecasting 80 degrees and our average for this time of the year is low 90s. That's where we should be, and we are far from that, not just today but over the next several days ahead. And hey, if you have any plans for your Monday afternoon, this is what the day will look like. Notice increasing cloud coverage, and again, we do have small chances for a few passing showers. Really, we don't think there'll be any storms today. It's an overall cooler day, so it won't have that fuel for those storms to actually form and to develop. But again, maybe a few showers here and there, not out of the question. Let's take you up to the mountains where temperatures today only topping off at 66 degrees in Banner Oak. Out there towards Blowing Rock, much of the same, a little warmer for Boone. 69 is where you'll top off today for your Monday forecast. As we're heading throughout the foothills, plan for mainly mid to upper 70s, 75 degrees today for Lenore, 77 for Morganton. Hickory checking in at 76 this afternoon, and a little bit warmer as we're looking at the Charlotte metro area, mainly into the 80s for us. 80 degrees today out there towards Gastonia, Rock Hill, 78 for Lancaster, 79 for Monroe. So you can see generally today's just going to be a cooler day. As we're heading towards the next 3 days, though, you can see overall well below where we should be, well below those 90-degree temperatures. Tomorrow our high again only 76 degrees, and this is our temperature over the next 10 days. So today 80 degrees, sure, we'll take that. And then if you like those cooler temperatures, I mean, look at this, 76 degrees tomorrow. However, more rain showers are on the way. There will be some opportunities, of course, where it's going to be dry. So if you like to work outside in your yard when it's a little bit cooler and more comfortable, there will be plenty of opportunity this week. Or if you want to leash up your fur babies and get them outside while it's also still bearable, this week will be a good week to do it. Rain is going to also increase, but look at those overnight lows, feeling pretty nice with mid 60s ahead, and then we'll start to see a nice gradual warming trend towards the later half of the week. Look at this though, over the next 6 to 10 days, we're seeing a trend that shows kind of near normal temperatures. That takes us through August 13th, but then through August 17th, the heat is back on. So enjoy the cooler weather while we have it. It's not going to stick around for much longer past that 7-day forecast. We know those rain chances will be out there, and this is what our radar could look like at 7 o'clock tonight. Mainly cloudy skies, few passing showers, not out of the question. I don't think it's going to be very much. Perhaps overnight and into our Tuesday morning, your morning commute could be a little bit wet, and overall the coverage viewing area could actually see more rain showers comes Tuesday morning. There's 9 o'clock, even pockets of heavier rain. But notice those temperatures. There's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're into into the 60s. So with that, mainly just a lot of rain and not a ton of storm potential. There's that 7-day forecast overall. We are all saying blue. No more alert days because of that heat and humidity. We are far from that. 80 degrees for our high today, only a 20% chance for a stray shower. Temperatures tonight will dip down into the 60s, 70s for our high tomorrow, and stay close to the WCNC weather team. We'll keep you up to date with the very latest.
And that is a look at a forecast, a cooler forecast. It felt like fall this morning, yeah. Carlene. I like that.
It was nice.
It was really nice.
It was nice.
All right, so we will continue to give you updates on the weather throughout the stream. All right, so we want to get now to a story that we're following. We'll have WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hagwood, who is following the story on for more analysis on this, on her report. But the North Carolina State Auditor presented findings from a comprehensive, what they're calling comprehensive audit of the DMV, highlighting systemic inefficiencies, staffing shortages, outdated technology, and governance challenges. So we heard from the state auditor today. He was in Raleigh for a press conference along with other officials. In case you missed it, let's play that back for you. Let's take a listen in.
Morning. Hope everybody's doing well. I've got an audit, and you know, let's just be honest. Audits aren't really all that exciting as a general rule, but today, we do have an audit of the Division of Motor Vehicles. I'm incredibly proud of the work that the team has put forth with this effort, and I'm joined on stage by some of our audit leaders. Audit Director Vernon Utley, who's at my direct right, Audit Director Jared Cronk, Audit Director Katie Gleason, Audit Manager Peter Gross, Audit Manager Kaylee Sproul, and Senior Auditor Ann Corbley is present, as well as Auditor Keith Mansa, who's in the room today. In total, we had about 20 auditors and specialists working on this DMV audit, and this is our first step at the DMV and our first stab. We've got more to do, but we analyzed everything, including the full DMV budget, which can be found at appendix in the appendix of the 435-page audit at page 257. As many of you know, in my previous service, I served as chair of the board of UNC Chapel Hill, and where at the university level we always talked and often talked about the ability to leverage our public institutions of higher learning here in North Carolina to help improve the quality of life of all of our citizens. So consistent with that notion, as part of this audit, we asked and the team asked and they agreed, and we were able to engage the Institute for Transportation Research and Education, Dr. Daniel Finley, who's also present here today, from NC State University, the Bryan School of Business and Economics at UNC Greensboro, Dr. Joy Bedori is present here today, and we also engaged the UNC School of Government. I want to thank Dean Amy Wall for her assistance with that. Let me also say that Governor Stein and I have had a lot of conversations about the DMV. He has been incredibly helpful. I will say even more helpful has been new and should be, because it's his job, DMV Commissioner Paul Tyne. He's been fantastic to work with. I think he's a really good choice to lead the DMV. He's got a lot of energy. And Secretary of Transportation Joy Hopkins has been instrumental in helping our team. I want to also thank Senate President Pro Tem Phil Berger, Senator Dan Blue, Minority Leader Sidney Batch, Senators Vicky Sawyer, Michael Lazzara, Bill Rabin, and Todd Johnson. And on the House side, Speaker Destin Hall, House Majority Leader Brendan Jones, Minority Leader Robert Reeves, Representatives Jay Adams, Frank Eiler, Jeff McNeely, Phil Shepard, and Steve Tyson, along with Representative Alan Branson, who I know have worked really hard on DMV issues. But by far, however, the most thanks goes to the men and women who work every day at DMVs across our state. As part of the audit, our team fanned out across the state of North Carolina and engaged those individuals in one-on-one conversations in driver's license offices across the state of North Carolina. And guess what? They had some great ideas. They really know what they're doing at the ground level, and they have some fantastic ideas that we believe can help every single North Carolinian and make DMV more efficient. It's no secret I campaigned on the idea of auditing the DMV. But this effort with respect to the State Auditor's Office will not be isolated to just the DMV. This is an effort to make the State Auditor's Office relevant to everyday North Carolinians. We want to perform audits that matter. This is, however, clearly our first stab at a comprehensive type audit that seeks to inject relevance into the office of the State Auditor. The DMV is the most customer-facing government agency in the state. And if this audit and our efforts do nothing else, folks, if this audit does nothing and falls flat, I will say this in a proud way, that this office has led the effort in shining a light and putting an emphasis on the fact that our DMV needs reform and that action needs to be taken. DMV affects the economy of North Carolina and the reputation of our state. You know, I woke up this morning early, probably 5:30, about normal for me, and where's WRAL? Are you here? Laura Levine was on TV this morning, and in the background was a line of people at Avent Ferry who had camped out or gotten there at 4 in the morning to try to get into the DMV to get help. You know, I was also watching TV and turning the channels last night. I see that CBS is doing a comedy show on the DMV. Well, folks, we've got to do better than that. Our DMV serves 8.6 million North Carolinians, and we have about 350 people that move here each and every day to our state. The DMV is an issue that at all levels of government we have agreement, and that we owe the people of North Carolina a fix to the DMV. We're releasing today what is officially a two-part audit. There will be additional audits of the DMV as we move forward, looking at things, for example, like license plate agencies. But these first two, which are really three in total, are an audit of information systems, a performance audit of the licensing and issuing function of DMV, and we have a full detail of the budget and spending of the DMV that is included in the appendix. We put it in the appendix because by its very nature the data is about a year in date, but the budget analysis is instructive to the overall DMV story, and we wanted to make sure that that data was included. Our audit tells a story. We show how customer experience is deteriorating worse than we had even known, and how DMV employees are grappling with a growing workload, and how staffing issues are hurting the DMV and customers. This audit highlights how DMV management has struggled to improve its IT infrastructure, and ultimately we show a systematic breakdown and historically fractured relationship between the DMV and the Department of Transportation, where the DMV is housed. Now let me stop and say this right here. This is not a personality-based issue. I have found Commissioner Paul Tyne and Secretary Joe Hopkins to work really well together. They've also worked with our team exceptionally well, and I do think that they are committed to doing what's right on behalf of the people of North Carolina. But in making recommendations from the State Auditor's Office, we can't isolate our recommendations to particular personalities. It has to be recommendations that are based on ultimate long-term structure. The DMV particularly has gotten notably worse over the last 5 years. We had a constituent contact our office, for example. Her name is Letitia, and she had tried to get her driver's license renewed from November to May. So think about that time period. During one visit, she actually saw more than 100 people turned away. So she took it upon herself to call. She actually got the phone number of a particular DMV employee and called every single day for 2 to 3 weeks until she finally was able to slip in and get her driver's license. We have here today Erin Van Horen. Erin, come on up, and when I ask her to share her experience with the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Thank you. I had a 16-year-old son at the time, and he was trying to get his driver's license. Didn't think it was going to be that big of an ordeal. Our first visit, we had an appointment 2.5 hours away because that was the only available time we could get. He was ready. We had everything to go. Perfect timing for us. We got there. no worker was there available to perform the test, the road test. So they said, you're going to have to go back to the system. So that's 1 day out of school and 1 day out of work for me. Our second visit was 3 hours away towards the mountains because that was the only appointment I could get. When we got there, their system was down, so they couldn't take us in. So that's 2 days out of school, 2 days out of work for me. The third visit, we were informed to go to Lillington because they have a no appointment required. We got there early at 6:30 in the morning. There were dozens of people camped out. Like you said, one man had spent the night there, sleeping bags. It was crazy. And 7:45, they come up with a sign that says no workers. Oh, it was awful. And then our fourth visit, I was able to get an appointment in Mount Airy. And I live in Holly Springs, so this is all a lot of traveling. We got the appointment, waited over 2.5 hours with an appointment, and was able to finally get his license. But since then, they have restrictions on licenses where you can't drive after 9 for a certain amount of time. We have attempted 3 times to go to the DMV to get that released, and we just can't get in. And my son has missed a total of 4 days of school and 4 days of work without even getting his license out of provisional. He's going to be 18 this year, so we're just honestly winging it. But it's just been a very big ordeal for us, and we cannot seem to get an appointment anywhere for any more appointments for his renewal that's coming up in 2 years. So that's been the biggest problem for us, is just availability and the, from what we were told, lack of workers.
Thank you, Erin. It's ErinVanHoren is how she spells her name, and she is a North Carolinian. And that goes to the point of why I decided when I ran for office that we would focus on the DMV. Our subject matter experts analyze data to determine how long customers typically remain at each driver's license location. If you look through the audit, there's a detailed map illustrating those issues. I'm not going to go through all the facts because we'll be here all day.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right there, you're watching, and this is from right before we got onto the stream, there in Raleigh, as the North Carolina auditor shares his report on an audit of the DMV. As you know, the DMV has been going through it with different issues that have popped up, and as the state works through that, again, that is the North Carolina auditor right there on your screen from moments ago. All right, let's come back here in studio. So we have some special guests, and Carlene knows I like when we have in studio. Hey, I like Zoom interviews. Don't get me wrong, but in studio, I just feel like you can reach out, touch folk. It's special. All right, so we have a couple that they have a passion for media production, but they also have a passion for helping people, helping the community, especially kids who wouldn't get certain opportunities. And we featured in here on WCNC Charlotte, and they do such great work. They do camps. And this Saturday they have a film premiering, and it got so popular that they had to switch the venues. So this just speaks to the great work that they're doing out there in the community. I want to bring them in. I was going to say Alex, but you introduced yourself as AJ, so I'm going to say AJ.
Yes.
AJ
yes.
Williams and Queen Williams, founders of the Creative Cornerstone. Thank you guys for stopping in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us,
Yes.
man. This is an awesome studio, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Oh, appreciate it. So he gave us the blessing on the studio, so I'm like, all right, we're doing something right here.
Yeah, yeah.
The audio visual people say, hey.
Right. I was nervous. I was like, I wonder what they're going to say.
Okay. You see, when I first came, the first thing I did was look around and see, like, this is a nice studio here. You guys got you know what you're doing.
How was the intro? The intro was good?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Very humble.
I saw Queen nodding in my peripheral, so I'm like, all right, I'm on to something. I'm cooking right now. Let me continue.
The Queen, she took my hand underneath the table here, and, we always pray before we do things, man. God first.
Yeah.
So,
start with a prayer. What's prayer?
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on. What's up?
Hey, are we praying?
Yeah, for real.
Cool.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for each and every opportunity you bring to us. We thank you for the studio and the work that they're doing. We pray that their success just keeps continue to grow, and they have an opportunity to be a blessing to others, and like ourselves who are trying to do your work and be in spaces where we are needed. We thank you for the very urge for us to be us, and we thank you for all the work that you're going to do through us now and the future, for Christ's sake and your glory. Amen.
Amen.
I'm for real. This is live impact news. You said prayer. I said I pray every morning. So there you go. I pray throughout the day too to get me through. I'm not going to hold.
You got to.
Let's start from the beginning. Where are you guys from?
Well, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Okay, you're rare. There's not a lot of people from Charlotte. Where are you from, AJ?
I am from Syracuse, New York. We moved down here in 2019.
Moved down from Syracuse?
From Syracuse, New York to Charlotte.
Did y'all meet in Syracuse?
No, we met here in Charlotte.
Okay.
I was traveling back and forth.
Okay.
I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for years, and it kept me moving back and forth, and just having family and friends down here, and amongst all my travels, I met Queen.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Where did the media production bug get you guys? Where did it hit you guys?
Wow. There's from my side. I've always done. I took graphic arts in school, in college, and in graphic arts, photography was an elective. I had no idea that photography would grab me the way that it did, to the point to where I do that more than I enjoy doing that more than the graphic work, and that led into the media product, the film. So I was already doing photography and short stories and that kind of stuff there. And as we moved down here, it's just the company that we had up in New York, I closed down. We wanted to start fresh here and just put God out front, let him guide us.
Oh, okay. And I guess, was there a particular like documentary? Was it a film? Was there anything that sort of at an early age inspired you to get into this? Was there something
for
like
me?
That? Yeah, like that.
For me, I would say
I'm always interested when it comes to creative.
The first thing I did, and I just knew I had the bug. If you asked me when I was younger, what you want to do, I want to run an advertisement agency.
Okay.
And first thing I did, I was in high school, and I made a Nike commercial. In my head, I didn't have the equipment, but I had that thing. I created the song and everything.
What era was this? Because at one point Nike was pumping out.
This was
iconic.
This was like way early. I'm dating myself now. So this was like in the late '80s, early '90s.
Okay.
Where I did this.
Okay,
Yeah.
So this is before. Well, maybe Spike Lee as far as
this
Nike
was before Spike Lee.
Okay.
I was a kid, but
Okay.
Spike Lee. Like in the next couple of years, Spike Lee had just popped, and that was
okay.
Yeah, up in New York, you heard of Spike Lee before that. I don't think anyone had heard him prior to his first couple of big movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see that Creativity Evolved.
Yeah.
That's the company. The nonprofit is Cornerstone Creative Cornerstone.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
When did you guys start the company?
That launched back in 2021.
Okay.
So we moved down here in 2019, and right around, after that, COVID hit, and we were still thinking, okay, we want to start the company and see what that looks like.
Right.
And we've already had the name. We were actually talking about this the other day. The name was already there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was on one of the posters because it spelled out, who we are as creatives. So Creativity Evolved. And then I was like, what are we going to name it? The same thing? It was like, it's right here. And so launched in 2021.
Yeah, it was an undertag on a studio that I started with my son. He had this idea, and I said, I'm going to make it brick and mortar for you, son.
Yeah.
And so he was in school and stuff, and I said, this is what we do. So when we were in New York, I started the studio, and that one was Unorthodox Studios. So we had an Unorthodox Studios up there.
Yeah.
And the sub tag I put underneath there to help describe what we do, it was Creativity Evolved. And so we moved down here, like, what are we going to name the studio? And then got this poster on the wall with the big Creativity Evolved on the bottom of it. Like, that's it.
That's the name.
And we still use unorthodox. We tag it because that's my son's movement, and I like to, his family. He does the same kind of things that I do. So.
Was it hard to get your footing here in Charlotte? Like, I mean, you're from here, but was it like being an entrepreneur, like starting a company? Was that what was that? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how was that starting out?
I can tell you this. When we first came, it was excuse me, fighting this cough. But when we first came, when I would meet people and other creatives here at first, everyone was open to it, but then when I let them know that I was a photographer, a cinematographer, and then it kind of like everyone kind of, it tightened up on you real quick, like all of a sudden the defense went up, like they were hoarding, like there's not enough room for another. And my train of thought was like, I literally came down here to kind of like, I wanted to mesh and dive into the Charlotte creative community big time. But I found that this the market here was at that time, I don't know if it still is, probably is, and I'm probably part of it now, but it was kind of cliquey and just standoffish. Now, for Charlotte's sake, everyone is kind of protective of what's yours.
Right.
But at the same time, when you were having an explosion, like you can look years back when Atlanta was having its explosion, you were expecting, you want to build with the greatest creatives that you can come around, that you can build with, right? And so as Charlotte is going through this explosion, I just pray that they just be more receptive and then help build each other up, because that's what we do.
So we're still going through that. And I was about to ask you that, though.
We're not going through it anymore.
Okay.
When I first came,
when you first came, okay.
When I first came, that's what I was going through. And then I guess people wanted to know that I wasn't a flash in the pan, that I was serious, and needed to know some of my work. Once I opened the studio, I started meeting so many people in Charlotte, and there's so many good creatives here in Charlotte. It's through the roof. I love the circle of friends and creatives that I am involved with now from the Charlotte area, and we all just uplift each other. But I didn't just walk through that door like, hey,
I'm here.
Like, hey, pause. Who are you? Why are you here?
It was kind of gatekeeping.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but I understand it to an extent. I just wish it was a little bit more welcoming, but I'm on the inside of this now, and I understand, why, I do get right off the gate why people would, hey, stop them at the door, like, we want to know who you are before we invite you into the circle. So one of the things we started doing with our studio, we would hold creative socials to get any creators, and we announced, listen, man, we're here just to meet people and we want to know. And so it's kind of like we had to prove our authenticity. This ain't a flash in the pan. We're here to stay. So we decided to relocate. The Queen, she came up to New York with me, and with me, when we came down this way, it was like, when we come back home, which is where we are now, when we head down to Charlotte, bringing everything that is me. Back up in New York, I still got a buddy up there, All Grown Up Entertainment. He's got maybe like close to 20 films published now, Amazon Prime, Tubi, Peacock. Yeah, and I'm on probably about half of those films as a DP or a cinematographer in some form or fashion, and I've acted in 3, one of them in a major role.
Wow! Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats to you both. It's one thing to start a company. It's one thing to just think about, hey, what do I have going on? And we all have stuff going on in our lives.
Right.
Man. We got to pay the bills. We got to take care of the kids. We got to, yada, yada, yada. But you wanted to help the community, kids.
Right.
Like, when did that get introduced, or was that always a part of the plan? And where did the name come from? I know I kind of threw a lot out there. Yeah. I'm just so curious.
You want to take that one, Queen?
Sure. We decided this was a passion project well before we moved down here, that we knew we wanted to start a nonprofit, wasn't quite sure when, and we knew we wanted to make sure it connected to the youth. So when we started Creativity Evolve in 2021, the following year we had, our first year, and we started, the momentum and seeing that it was a lot of creatives that were interested in what we were doing and the collaborations that we were seeking to have between the different types of genres and disciplines. But we saw there was a lot of young people that were wanting to take control of their own, you know, media outlets and what they were interested in. And so that's where Creative Cornerstone came into play. It's like, how can we teach them this business mindset of owning your craft, but looking at it from a business perspective? And so that's where the combination came from. Like, hey, let's teach them, show you how to work within spaces of music production, film, photography, and then the different spiders of that, you know, acting and public speaking, and the connections within the community, and seeing how you can use that as a business and, you know, be profitable within there, and then connect and collaborate. And so that's how those connections came, and we saw that a lot of youth and adults, we have a lot of adults that come to us and like, hey, you gonna teach us too? Are seeking those connections, and we're seeing like, wow, this is a trade opportunity, because we are moving into the elements of you have to present yourself in whatever you're doing in some kind of media outlet of some way, right?
Yeah.
You have to understand those that background. So understanding that and applying to your discipline, we see that there's so much more we can do within this space. And so the youth, I mean, they're all about, hey, how can I learn something now and run with it? Some are looking into college, of course, and we never push that away, because you know, we both went. The biggest part of it is that you don't have to wait. And so we say, hey, listen, get the tools now and start putting into place, start building your portfolio. And so that's the direction that we are right now.
And you guys do camps, right? You just wrapped up the summer camp.
We did, yes.
Right. Yeah.
How was the camp? I guess what I want to ask is, you're teaching the kids so much, but what are they teaching you?
Patience.
You said that quick.
This camp was interesting. We realized when we did our first year, and which was last year, a lot of people assume we've been around for a while for the nonprofit, and we just completed 1 year of our nonprofit.
And this is a look at the camp right here on your screen, right here. I'm just for the viewing audience.
Oh, okay. I was like,
sorry.
Is that it? But we just completed 1 year, and now we're on our second camp that we just finished up, and we're realizing that within the growth, there's the emotional part as well that you have to cater to with the youth, because we're approaching them with the creative side, but they're still people. And so we've learned, especially during this particular camp, is that there's so many sides of them, and how can we, moving forward, help cater to not just that, right? We have, you don't know what people are going through in their home lives, and because we do actively seek out youth in disadvantaged communities, that the lack is not just the lack of equipment. The lack can be the lack of, someone's, pushing your home, or it could be food. It could be so many different things. And so we're realizing that we can't just say, hey, it's just about the music, or it's just about the film. It's the whole person. And how can we, ensure that we are doing what we're called to do within the space?
Yeah, you definitely a lot of counseling. And sometimes in this space, is I find that some of the young men who you just need to be solid there for them, and just a sounding board for them. Hey, let it out, but you need to come do here with me. This can't happen here. And at the same time, you have to protect that space for the other kids.
Right.
So that it gets patience. Right. You get what I'm saying? It's like you literally, when you say, listen, man, God put you here for a reason, because you can handle it. We're in that space, and so we have to be able to handle it. We're smart enough to put things in place, and now we're moving forward. And that's what this summer has taught us. Like last year, it was like last year was like, what do you call it? The fairy glasses. Everything was beautiful, and oh man, this was an awesome thing.
Rose-colored glasses.
The rose-colored glasses. This year, we had a couple of bumps. We're like, okay, we see gaps, and so we, fixing the gaps. But as far as the creativity, through the roof. I mean, through the roof. And the turn up from last year, we had students from last year, and then new students here, just the turn up of the quality. I got students who, one of them, he's already producing music. He's already selling music. We helped him create a sound library, and he's just in that space, and he's doing well. I also have another student. She's like 15 years old, and she is a phenomenal photographer, but I can see some of the gaps that she needs to fix. So a couple of things. I showed her a couple of lighting tricks, and it just, with those few tips, just threw her through the roof. She's like, oh, I cannot wait to get back and shoot this now. And just see that burn and desire in her. And she's already working. She was working when she came to us. I just want to make her a better photographer. And she's 15.
Wow, 15.
Yeah, she's 15, and she's good with that camera. So
man,
yeah. So it's the creative side. It's the more that people find out that we're here and what we do, they get in and they want to be in the space, and we don't turn anyone away. So if anyone watching this audience wise,
right,
if you are not let's say the typical disadvantage, as a nonprofit, you have to target, and that's where you get your funding sources from.
Right.
So we have to target that. But if you are not that and you want to come and learn these skills, sign up. Because as these, if we got a space of 25 kids and we got 21 kids, well, there's 4 kids that I can pull in this program. I had a couple this year, and we pulled in this program, and one of these kids is phenomenal through the roof. I look forward to working with this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love media production, and I love to see kids that got a burn for it the way that I do. And so when they ask those questions, and it's the whole reason why we started. We had the for-profit, but a lot of people come in and they love what we're doing. They love the idea conceptually, but they couldn't afford to. Hey, I can't afford to come in here and spend X amount per hour for this or X. But I still wanted to pour into them. So Queen and I were talking. We got to figure out a way to help these kids.
Let's talk about the film.
Yes.
Did the film come from the summer camp, this year's summer camp, or is it something that you gradually been working on? Walk me through that.
Yes, it came from the summer camp.
Okay.
So what sets our nonprofit apart is it's not just we, teach the skills, it's application. And within application, there needs to be some kind of project. And so anytime we have a workshop or summer camp or what the case may be, where we're spending a lot more time with the youth, teaching them those elements, they're applying it to the final project, which is the film. So the music production camp, they were working towards the score, the cinematography, and the actors that we brought on, the youth as well, were working towards the actual film itself and writing and directing the film. And so that'll be this Saturday. We are premiering it at Goodyear Arts over at Camp North End, but very excited about it.
And you had to change the location. I got your text. I checked the website too. I was like, well, maybe the website has the old address. It didn't update it yet. But no, that's the new location, the Goodyear Arts at Camp North End. Because we talked about it on the phone, Queen, that you were hoping more people come out and anticipating more people to come out, but to have that actually happen and have the community support, like what does that mean?
The biggest thing for me is my background is marketing.
Yeah.
I have my master's in strategic communications, and so I recognize that you want the numbers because there's always a percentage that may or may not show up. And so it's like, okay, if you get 50 people, there's this percentage that may or may not show up. And so I always like to keep the doors open and keep it open like, hey, not all 77 may or may not show up. But when we open it up to the community and to the parents, we say, hey, listen, go ahead and get your tickets for your kids, just for numbers wise, because everything was free to them. I was telling AJ yesterday, we opened it up, to 90. We already had 77, and then I looked up and it was 88. I said, okay. I said, all right, well, this is going to be gone by the time we get on air today to talk about it. But the feeling within it is great because we want the whole purpose was, and I told AJ, every year I want us to grow. I want more visibility, and as a nonprofit, it's important to show that, especially evaluation wise, like, hey, listen, this is where your funding is going. We're touching this many youth. Our goal is to, grow by 25 to 50% by 2026, and this is how we're doing this, how we're going to evaluate it, from attendance to, continued education with the youth, and then following them past the camp, right? Because it's not just come to our camp and then that's it. What are other things we can do, the after-school programs, the fall programs, leading up? How can we follow you throughout your whole career to ensure that you have support? And so it feels great. And so I'm excited, and I'm hoping that everyone shows up to the points where we're like, all right, we got a standing room, so I'm down.
What about for you, AJ?
For me, the growth is it's kind of like a dream, in a sense, like when you dream something, we're a dream. We talk about it, we get to pray on it, and then my thing from that point is just move out in expectation, man. From that point, I'm going, and sometimes I have to have Queen stop. All right, babe, I need you to slow down, bulldog. But I just push it to get, and a lot of times you just gotta wait, and when you dream it and you pray on it, and then it's time for action. Like it's an old song I used to, from an old cartoon. And it says even a miracle needs a hand, right? It's a Christmas one. You remember that?
Nah, I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
If y'all listening, y'all know this song, man. Tag him. Tag him with that song.
Maybe he's not singing it right. I don't know.
Yeah, but
she gave me the eye, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it's just you plan, you pray, and then all right, let's move out in expectation. And so sometimes you have to pause and wait, because now ain't the time. You got to be able to hear and see that, all right, this ain't the time. And so that she's like, I'm all creative and gusto, and she's like, yeah, she'll help to pause me and say, hey, let's check these things out, do these things, just making sure that we got everything in order. So creative side, I hate to say it, but I get to have all the fun.
Yeah.
And she makes sure that we're in order.
The balance.
I gotta find the money so that he can. that's
that part too.
Before I let you guys go, what's next? Ooh. I know that's a heavy question, and that could be a scary question, but I
can answer that.
Okay.
I can answer that as far as what the structure, and then we'll let the money queen talk. Because here I'm going to dream. All right.
Okay.
So this is what it is. So we have like 3 things that we do. We do the summer camp, and the spring workshops, and the fall workshops.
Yep.
In between, I try to work on the creativity evolve kind of stuff there, where we're shooting films and looking to revamp my film company here. Since moving from New York, I will go back and forth to New York, and I'm looking to start that here. Okay. So I have a short film plan. Talented writer right out of this area, Ezekiel. If you're watching, Zeke, I know you will, because I'll point you to it eventually. And he's a talented writer. He has like 30 plus awards for his screenwriting. And he came in on one of our last events, and we did a short film from that. But just the nonprofit and the for-profit planning and moving forward. We have the creative clubs that we look to continue to do stuff with the kids from the nonprofit. I want to do a junior marketing firm with these guys where we target doing marketing for other nonprofits and people in need, that kind of thing. So it's really not just taking the community, the kids out of the community to learn. Now it's application. You're doing these kind of things, and if we can pull income from it, then that helps for them to buy equipment, or maybe put money in their pocket if they want to go to school, or just if they just, hey, this is what I want to do. So as we get the creative clubs, so we hone skills, the junior marketing firms, so we can get these kids into doing something to make an income. And then continue that cycle of the for-profit, the summer camps, the spring and fall workshops.
Yeah. So, and those are all great. It's going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen.
Told you I'm dreaming.
No. Those are all great. Those are all great. You look at it from like, okay, these are the short-term goals. These are the long-term goals. And then we kind of go from there. And so for me, specifically, it's going to be the capacity growing. Yeah. And the focus is growing our team and recognizing that we have opportunities to move into the schools. We're going to be doing some work with CMS, which is amazing, which is what we wanted to do is, whet the youth's appetite while they're there in schools, and then introduce them to any of our after-school programs that we have to offer in our spring workshops. And so now we're being able to touch them in different places of their day, instead of it just being, all right, just the spring or just the summer camp, or maybe just the fall. So that's one aspect of growth. And like AJ said, we definitely want to start that youth production program, because I think that'd be amazing for them. And for me, dreaming is going to be creating the pipeline. I see us as a trade school, in the way of how we would see, back in the day, you would go get go into, contracting, or you would go into plumbing and all those HVAC.
Right.
I see that, but I see it for media, and the growth is there and the need is there. It's just pointing them in the right direction. Us being able to give them certificates and say, hey, you completed a program with Creative Cornerstone, and those who see it say, oh yes, that's a great program. We're gonna, that's something amazing to be on your resume. And so that's my dream goal for us moving forward. But the next things are going to be the after school program. We're going to be communicating or making made a connection, with McCrory Wise Best Buy Teen Tech Center.
Okay.
And so they have a full Teen Tech Center there, and so we're going to be able to do some after school work with them. So that's another way that we're going to be able to tell our youth, like, hey, listen, we just finished this program. You want to continue on? We're going to be here so we can learn more and do more hands-on moving into the spring.
Man, you guys have a lot of work ahead. But look, you guys are doing amazing work. I'm grateful to have you on here. If you're not familiar, check their website out. Check our story. That story was about a year old at this point, probably a little bit longer than that. Maybe
Our nonprofit are active. We're working on our second year now.
Yeah.
And that's active.
Okay.
But we started in 2022. But actively working, we had 1 year where it just sat there because we were still building the for-profit. But
time is just moving. It's hard to keep track of time at this point.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Again, check them out, AJ and Queen Williams, the Creative Cornerstone, Creativity Evolved. They are amazing people, do great work. I know them. I feel like I know you guys from afar. I know we just met, but doing a deep dive and watching our past story, I feel like I know y'all. Y'all like family. So I'm just saying that.
We're here. We can come. We can
we're
come
here
all the
for
time.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're here for it.
We always say, come back. We don't want you to be
We
a
would love to
one-time
come back
guest.
and bring perhaps like a couple of the students. The ones that
Let's
I'm
make it
talking
happen.
about. These kids. Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I do want to say, okay, so AJ just found this out, but when I was younger, I had this, this dream of, being a newscaster, and, I was really good. I'm a character.
Okay.
But I keep it to the back because we both can't be characters.
Okay.
But when I'm in that lane, I'm amazing. I can say that with confidence and with humility. I'm amazing.
I can second that.
And so, I would love to, give me a mic. I can point me to the direction. I can tell you what's going on.
Give
what's
me a
happening.
camera. Point me in the
You know
right
what I'm saying?
direction. I'm an amateur photographer. Like I want to sharpen my skills.
We down.
You can come out
100%.
shooting with us.
Hey, we will make something happen. I'm serious. I'm serious.
serious.
We
too.
are serious. Come out shooting with us.
100%.
I am so serious.
I'll show you how to
Look,
work that thing. What kind? Are you a Sony shooter?
I don't know. Man. We got to start from the beginning. Like,
All right. Well,
yeah.
well, I tell you what. All our cameras. And big shout out to Sony Create Action. Is that right for me to do a name drop here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sony Create Action. Big shout out to Sony for sponsoring our program. They're
Yes.
our corporate sponsor, and we have all Sony equipment through them.
Yes.
We dream again. When you pray and you dream and stuff like that, and that's exactly what we did. I said that would be awesome if we can get Sony to back us here, and lo and behold, they had this thing out where they were looking for someone to back. So we applied. We're new. We haven't really even started our first program yet, and we sent out that information through the application, and they called back. They said, "You guys are exactly what we're looking for."
Wow.
Talk about God putting things
That's
in
God.
favor,
That's all
man.
God right there.
Because we hadn't even did our first program yet,
Right.
and Sony came on board with us. Big shout out to Sony Create Action, the whole Creative Action
Yay.
team.
And
Jessica, please watch this.
and shout out to AJ and Queen. Look, if you missed this interview, you can catch it on our YouTube page, also WCNC.com. Again, I just want to throw out there film premieres. The name of the film again? I had it over here, but
This is Summer Gems Showdown.
Summer Gems
Showdown. Now this one we brought a great director actor acting coach.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Kia Hamilton.
Kia.
Okay.
She's actually one of our board members, but she likes to be active as far as nonprofit work as well. So she came on, she wrote this one, and then she assisted. She did the casting, wrote it,
Yeah.
and then she assisted me while I was out shooting the film with the kids.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you're independent, you wear so many hats. So
Yeah.
I can't say she did this or
Yeah.
that there. We wear thousands of hats as compared to like a union, and you got all these different positions that are this is what you do. So we wear 1,000 hats, and that's what we all did with some of the kids. We plugged them in place. We had fun shooting this, and it's a nice little short for the kids.
Oh yeah.
And you can catch that. Well, I don't know unless you got to take it out.
I mean, you can come in.
Still come.
You can still come?
We say
Okay.
we
Still
tell people
I didn't want to
first
invite
come,
people.
First up. They come.
Okay.
Please,
I mean, I
please.
didn't want to invite people if you know.
Come on
Put
down.
200 in the
You
building.
know how like when you throw a party
Standing only.
and they say they invite you, but then
Yes.
you bring like
Some extra people.
yeah, that's like my family.
Yeah.
Quick story: my brother graduated from high school. We asked one family member, "Hey, come." They brought a whole caravan of family members I ain't seen in 10 years. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't want to do that. So
No, that's
Family.
But hey, when your
Come.
brother crossed that stage, what happened? That place erupted
It
because all the love
erupted.
that you brought into that space.
well, they couldn't get into the graduation ceremony. It's a cookout. It's a cookout. It's a cookout.
Well, at least at the cookout.
Yeah, it was a cookout.
He had some extra food.
They got to
Oh,
eat
we
the
always got
burgers
extra
in.
food. You know, we always got extra food.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know. But anyway, I can go. I got stories for days. But AJ Queen, thank you for your time
Thank
again.
you.
That film premieres at the Goodyear Arts at Camp North End this Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, thank you guys for your time.
Absolutely.
Hang around for just a moment. We're going to shift to something else. Carlene, where do we want to go back to the DMV? All right. So we showed you this earlier. The North Carolina auditor presenting his report on his findings with the DMV. We all know things at the DMV have been tough. Let's get you back now to that press conference.
Been in office now 7 months. We started this audit 6 months ago, so this is a 6-month work product. We started the 1st of February with this. We're seeing a lack of metrics and measurabilities across the state of North Carolina. You know, we need measurable data so that managers can know what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and so they can look at it and see exactly what needs to be done to move, to use a sports analogy, the ball down the field. And you know, private business uses metrics, and in this day of data analytics and the use of high-speed computers, the state of North Carolina's got to get on board with data analytics and metrics across the state. So, but we're able to glean some informative issues. We found that statewide average customer service visits actually exceeded 1 hour and 15 minutes, which is up 15.4% from 2019. Now, I want to note here that this is DMV data based on when individuals actually check in the license office, right? This doesn't include how long you have to wait outside if you're there for a show up. We also found that 13.8% of customer visits exceeded 2.5 hours in the year 2025, which is a 79% increase statewide. We found that 47.5% of driver's license office transactions in fiscal year 2025 were customers not visiting their closest office, and that 14% of rural customers traveled outside of their service area for more than an hour. Over the past 5 years, customer experience has been measurably declining, a trend closely linked to both increased population and persistent structural and governance challenges. The employee experience has diminished as well. Employees, in our talk with them, cited low salary, burnout, security concerns, lack of support, and inadequate training. If you look at salaries, the average salary remains below $50,000 for examiners in both rural and urban areas. You can see the appendix at page 300 for a detailed chart of the DMV pay. I have that chart with me here. If you go to the appendix at page 300, it shows a detailed analysis of that pay. Quite frankly, the state should evaluate market-based salaries and an approach to paying these positions, because frankly, many positions across the state are in different metropolitan and local areas. I mean, let's be just honest about it. It costs more to live in Charlotte than it does in rural eastern North Carolina. And we need to look at it from a pay standpoint of what we pay folks to get the job done. Examiners have also described customers lunging at them, and in one instance, a customer actually kicked a glass pane in. And in another instance, a customer followed a license examiner out behind the DMV license office. These folks, these hardworking men and women who are serving the people of North Carolina, are facing increasingly stressful and occasionally hostile work environments. And it really, really, really needs to get better. And so we will, and I know, let me just say this, I know Governor Stein, Commissioner Tyne, and Secretary Hopkins are fully on board with this, and they understand that. But DMV is operating on an unsustainable staffing model. Current DMV workforce levels are insufficient to meet the needs of North Carolinians. There are several issues at play, clearly, and it's been reported, some news outlets here have gotten it right, that over the past 20 years, our population has increased by 2.5 million people. However, during that same period, license examiner positions have only increased by 52 positions. That's only half the problem. Right now, there are approximately 160 total vacant examiner positions. Those are empty slots. The DMV has to have more employees in its office, and those vacant positions need to be filled. You know, one of the things we did in the state auditor's office, we redesigned an administrative position to be a full-time recruiter. And I think that's a great idea for DMV as well. We want to make sure we have the best and brightest working in the state auditor's office, and we want somebody full-time recruiting folks to come work for the state. Specifically, however, we identified 12 service areas where recruitment and retention efforts should be focused for maximum impact. You can find that on page 21 of the audit. Let me give you a really stark example. In Harnett County, there's one license examiner to serve 56,000 residents. Let me repeat that. One license examiner to serve 56,000 residents. Again, page 21, table 4 sort of breaks that down. It's not sustainable. And DMV's reliance on temporary positions creates challenges for Commissioner Tyne. He needs flexibility to be able to move those positions around and make those positions permanent. These temporary positions are harder to fill. They come with fewer benefits and create extra training costs. You know, to that end, the legislature has appropriated 40 additional license examiners and the expansion of license offices, and that bill is on the governor's desk now. I say that's a good start, but Commissioner Tyne needs additional positions and he needs additional flexibility. You know, creativity and innovation is the only way we'll get to the finish line and make DMV better and more efficient. And I know the governor shares this thought. We've discussed it. The DMV has struggled with technology as well. Our information systems audit shows IT modernization efforts at the DMV have not produced meaningful customer service improvements. Since 2014, the DMV and the Department of Information Technology Transportation Division initiated 46 separate projects that resulted in a cost of approximately $42 million. But even with all the projects, outside experts determine the current DMV mainframe systems are outdated and overdue for replacement. And by the way, that's symptomatic across state government. We got to do better there. But these legacy systems support all the operations, and they're working for the time being. And I've talked with Commissioner Tyne, and I agree with him that operationally we've got to get these licenses issued quicker before we dive fully deep into the technology fix, but that technology fix needs to remain on the front burner. Operationally, the technology at DMV is frozen in time, and it hinders efforts across the board for stakeholders. But the biggest issue that our team identified, and this came not only from stakeholders across state government, but from people that work in the DMV on the front lines, is the relationship between DMV and DOT. This is a governance structure issue that adds too much bureaucratic red tape to the equation. There are 4 systematic challenges stemming from the DMV's governance structure as a division of DOT. And let me stop here and say, I am aware, and I certainly respect Commissioner Tyne and Secretary Hopkins' disagreement with this recommendation. Actually, if you look at their response, they agree with every single recommendation we make except this one, and I certainly understand and respect that. But the current structure limits the strategic input of the DMV. Of the 45 performance milestones in the DOT strategic plan for 2023 to 25, only 2 of the 45 directly pertain to DMV operations. They have restricted budgetary autonomy. DMV relies on DOT to submit budget requests, but only 31% of DMV's staffing requests were included in DOT's budget request. Insufficient performance data. DOT left out DMV customer service satisfaction data in its performance report. Exclusion from key process modernization initiatives. DMV was excluded from planning and procurement phases of improvement efforts led by the DOT. Again, these are not personality based, and I'm fully aware that Secretary Hopkins is new to the job over the last 6 months, and Commissioner Tyne is new to the job. But this has been a legacy issue at the DMV, between the DMV and the DOT. The governance structures have contributed and will continue to contribute to customer and operational challenges, modernization delays, employee burnout, and negative impacts on North Carolina's economy. DOT needs the DMV, not the other way around. DMV currently generates 30% of DOT's revenues, but accounts for only 3% of the expenditures while lacking sufficient operational authority. DMV collects more than $3.5 billion each year, which includes $1.3 billion in vehicle taxes. You know, when you go and you get your registration, you pay your tax through the DMV to the county. But it also remits $2.2+ billion every year to the DOT, while DMV's total expenditures are roughly $200 million per year. You can see page 267 for a detailed analysis of that in the appendix. I would note that the $28 million per year has now been shifted to the State Highway Patrol through license and theft. But the fact remains the relationship isn't working. There have been several different DMV and DOT leadership iterations over the years. Again, I believe that Commissioner Tyne and Secretary Hopkins are really working well together, but we need to organize our DMV and our DOT for whoever takes those positions. Our recommendations consider all the issues laid out in our audits, and we included specific instructions that establish timelines for the impacted parties to adopt. First, we'd ask that policymakers consider establishing the DMV as an autonomous agency or authority with direct control over its budget, strategic planning, and operations. Those specific next steps include requiring the DMV and DOT to deliver an initial transition plan within 6 months. While DMV and DOT leadership oppose this, our recommendations include the development of a detailed transition plan to proactively address the risks. Second, DMV leadership should adopt a comprehensive strategic plan, and I know Commissioner Tyne is hard at work on this. This needs to be independent of DOT and should include measurable goals, performance metrics, and a draft should be delivered to the General Assembly and the Governor within 9 months. Third, DMV should conduct an in-depth staffing analysis and multi-year staffing plan to address examiner shortages, identify staffing needs by location, convert temporary examiner roles to permanent, and adjust pay structures when needed. This should be submitted to the General Assembly and Governor's Office within 6 months. Fourth, the DMV should build and maintain a performance dashboard. Now let me stop here and say I know that there's people calling me Dashboard Dave, and I'm fine with that, because I do believe that a dashboard provides accountability. And so we are calling on a dashboard to be created to track customer visit duration, appointment availability and scheduling trends, customer satisfaction, staffing availability and examiner productivity, and online service usage and adoption rules. Look, people don't respect what you don't inspect. The general public and the stakeholders across North Carolina need to know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. With computer technology and the information age that we live in today, this is not too much for us to ask of our state agencies. Lastly, DMV should develop and implement a customer service experience improvement plan. And some things, look, the DMV is already doing, and I've talked to Commissioner Tyne about it. I know I keep repeating myself when I say that, but I do want you to know how hard I do believe Commissioner Tyne and Secretary Hopkins are working on this. You know, the staffing model needs to leverage facilitators, and they're doing that. That is where you have a greeter that helps the folks that are waiting in line to make sure they don't wait 8 hours. They may wait 30 minutes or 2 hours. If they don't have the right documentation, they need to be told early on so they don't sit there all day. They're implementing periodic weekend and longer hours, and that's important. But there are several other customer experience improvements that should be included. Service differentiation is really important. That is, you know, if you have, for example, a rural DMV office that has a limited number of examiners, we recommend that the DMV look at doing a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for example, for renewals and real IDs, and then a Thursday for driver's tests for 16-year-olds, and then maybe a Friday for commercial driver's license tests. Differentiate these. One of the things we've got to do in North Carolina is get over the crest of the backlog of folks that need IDs. We need to have incentives to encourage online transactions. Right now it costs more to do things online than it does in person. Revised appointment management strategies, that's a no-brainer. On the ground, a lot of the examiners even tell us that they'd just soon not even have the appointment process. They would rather move people in and out as they show up in line, because we've got to get to the point in our DMV offices where people are waiting on the DMV license examiner, not the license examiner waiting on folks to show up, because there's plenty of people in line that need to be served. Enhanced communication by signage and using digital tools around, and innovative service pilots like pop-up DMV events. You know, we've all been to the Halloween Spirit store. In North Carolina, we have a lot of anchor retail spaces that are open, and some large shopping center areas that are open. There's no reason why we can't take new tranches of DMV license examiners and put them in regional pop-up locations to move people through to get their driver's license renewed or to get a real ID in an expedient manner. Additionally, we would have the benefit of helping that particular local economy in that particular shopping area, because there would be an influx of people. People can wait inside with air conditioning or inside with heat. Got to evaluate new technology systems. The more we can do online, the better. The technology exists. For example, in the airport, there's a service called Clear. I use it. Now, to be sure, they're using our real ID information to provide that Clear, but that type of technology can also be reverse engineered to help our license examiners move forward to get their license. And we need to consider premium service options. Explore a pilot FastPass style way of obtaining a license quicker through a private third party, such as a license plate agency where citizens can pay a fee to obtain a license quicker. Look, we already do that. We have TSA PreCheck, we have toll roads, we charge a premium on all kinds of things, and I think now is the time to explore that. We include also some common sense actionable items like amending the statutory 30-day validity of driving eligibility certificates. That would be North Carolina General Statutes 20-11 subset N3. Currently, the general statute requires students under the age of 18 applying for a permit or license to possess a driving eligibility certificate that is dated within 30 days of the application for permit. This just quite frankly needs to be eliminated. If you can't get an appointment, there's no way for that 30-day time period is just too short. Also, individuals should not really have to go in person 3 times before turning 18 in person to get a driver's license. We got to reform that statutory process. We also have talked with Commissioner Tyne, and I will tell you that the DMV is working really hard to authorize third-party testers to administer the skills test. We found that, for example, in South Carolina, look, there is a complete regulatory and licensing scheme for folks that train drivers on how to drive, whether it's at the public schools or whether if you're at a private school, use a private driving school. There's no reason why those individuals who spend several hours, minimum of 6 hours, with those individuals in the car can't certify that they've actually passed the driver's test. We found, for example, that an examiner can process 4 to 5 renewals or real IDs in an hour. But that road test for the 16-year-old typically takes a minimum of 35 minutes. And for a commercial driver, it takes a minimum of 45 minutes. So eliminating that 35-minute time frame and that 45-minute time frame are really actionable steps. And by the way, the DMV can do that without statutory change. And we've talked with Commissioner Tyne and Secretary Hopkins, and they're hard at work on that right now. We talked with DMV leadership. I think they really are on top of this. We included information on DMV kiosks.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We are at the top of the hour, 2 o'clock. That is what you're watching right now is from before we hopped on the afternoon stream. This is from this morning. The North Carolina auditor sharing his report on the DMV. Again, the DMV has had its trouble this year, stories that we've highlighted on the DMV. And again, you heard from the state auditor along with other officials on those 2 audits on the North Carolina DMV. WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hadwood is following the story for us. She is live outside of the DMV right now. Kaylin, you were listening in to the press conference. You also talked to folks there at the DMV. What can you tell us?
Well, within that press conference, Nick, we heard a lot of mirroring what we hear from folks who are out here on the ground trying to get into the DMV, trying to get an appointment. Their concerns are the wait times that they have, these extremely long waits, hours-long waits, even having to travel for hours to get an appointment and to see someone. The state auditor says within their audit report, they found those same issues, and they were very transparent about the challenges, even bringing on a woman within that press conference who told her own story of trying to get a license for her son and not having success time after time just because of the long waits and how that impacted their schedule. And so what we are getting from this press conference, Nick, is a commitment from so many different agencies. We've talked about what they're doing at legislatively to try to address this, but from all of these different state agencies to really try to do something about the issues and the wait times here at the DMV. I want you to hear a little snippet of that, and I'll tell you a little bit more on the other side of the press conference.
But DMV is operating on an unsustainable staffing model. Current DMV workforce levels are insufficient to meet the needs of North Carolinians. There are several issues at play, clearly, and it's been reported, some news outlets here have gotten it right, that over the past 20 years, our population has increased by 2.5 million people. However, during that same period, licensed examiner positions have only increased by 52 positions. That's only half the problem. Right now, there are approximately 160 total vacant examiner positions. Those are empty slots. The DMV has to have more employees in its office, and those vacant positions need to be filled.
And Kaylin, we heard there from North Carolina's auditor there in that soundbite talking about a shortage of employees there that are hindering the DMV from actually doing what they need to do.
Absolutely, Nick. And so one of the potential solutions that he said they could even do is doing something kind of like a Spirit Halloween, where you see those pop-ups that come up every Halloween season, and maybe getting some employees into those buildings as they bring more people on staff, and offering temporary pop-ups around the state to try to address that imbalance between the amount of staffing that they have and the amount of people that have come here to live in North Carolina. So they have really run the gamut of different options to try to address this. They said this is really the first step, putting out this report. They're going to be doing more work at the auditor's office to try to pin down exactly what the issues are. But again, I would say a positive, and again, I've been talking to some folks out here at the DMV who've been listening in on that press conference, who said they're pleased with what they're hearing, feeling heard by the fact that the DMV is actually mirroring some of the things that they're saying and seeing within their experience, and being honest and coming out and talking about that, and hopeful that it will bear some fruit and reach some solutions where those wait times can really be reduced significantly, Nick.
Yeah, Kaylin, I know a lot of people are interested to see what comes after this audit. Kaylin, thank you for your time. You can catch Kaylin at 5 and 6 o'clock this evening. Again, Kaylin, thank you. Look forward to hearing or seeing your story a little later there. All right, yeah, again, DMV, a big cause and concern, a story that we've covered numerous times over the last several months, especially at the top of the year. So again, it will be interesting to see what happens next, as again we heard from the North Carolina Auditor's Office about their report. All right, so let's shift gears now. Let's talk about some weather. It is much cooler outside. It was a nice break from the extreme heat from last Monday, James.
It was nice relief.
So the trend continues today, but there is a chance for rain out there. There's always a chance for rain during the summer months. Let's check in with meteorologist Majestic Storm for a look at a forecast.
Well, good Monday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm, and if you love the weather over the weekend, the clouds, the rain, just the overall cooler conditions, I think you're really going to like what we have in store looking at our full 7-day forecast. First things first, though, today the cool weather will continue. Not only that, but we will have much more cloud coverage than sunshine. However, only a small chance for a few pop-up showers. Those rain chances tomorrow will really increase. And then taking a look at our full 7-day forecast, each and every day temperatures will stay below where we should be for this time of the year. Yesterday, believe it or not, we only topped off at 76 degrees. I believe it. I was outside and it felt mighty cool. Today we're forecasting 80 degrees and our average for this time of the year is low 90s. That's where we should be, and we are far from that, not just today but over the next several days ahead. And hey, if you have any plans for your Monday afternoon, this is what the day will look like. Notice increasing cloud coverage, and again, we do have small chances for a few passing showers. Really, we don't think there'll be any storms today. It's an overall cooler day, so it won't have that fuel for those storms to actually form and to develop. But again, maybe a few showers here and there, not out of the question. Let's take you up to the mountains, where temperatures today only topping off at 66 degrees in Banner Oak. Out there towards Blowing Rock, much of the same, a little warmer for Boone. 69 is where you'll top off today for your Monday forecast. As we're heading throughout the foothills, plan for mainly mid to upper 70s, 75 degrees today for Lenore, 77 for Morganton. Hickory checking in at 76 this afternoon, and a little bit warmer as we're looking at the Charlotte metro area, mainly into the 80s for us. 80 degrees today out there towards Gastonia, Rock Hill, 78 for Lancaster, 79 for Monroe. So you can see generally today's just going to be a cooler day. As we're heading towards the next 3 days, though, you can see overall well below where we should be, well below those 90-degree temperatures. Tomorrow our high again only 76 degrees, and this is our temperature over the next 10 days. So today 80 degrees, sure, we'll take that. And then if you like those cooler temperatures, I mean, look at this, 76 degrees tomorrow. However, more rain showers are on the way. There will be some opportunities, of course, where it's going to be dry. So if you like to work outside in your yard when it's a little bit cooler and more comfortable, there will be plenty of opportunity this week. Or if you want to leash up your fur babies and get them outside while it's also still bearable, this week will be a good week to do it. Rain is going to also increase, but look at those overnight lows, feeling pretty nice with mid 60s ahead, and then we'll start to see a nice gradual warming trend towards the later half of the week. Look at this though, over the next 6 to 10 days, we're seeing a trend that shows kind of near normal temperatures. That takes us through August 13th, but then through August 17th, the heat is back on. So enjoy the cooler weather while we have it. It's not going to stick around for much longer past that 7-day forecast. We know those rain chances will be out there, and this is what our radar could look like at 7 o'clock tonight. Mainly cloudy skies, few passing showers, not out of the question. I don't think it's going to be very much. Perhaps overnight and into our Tuesday morning, your morning commute could be a little bit wet, and overall the coverage viewing area could actually see more rain showers comes Tuesday morning. There's 9 o'clock, even pockets of heavier rain. But notice those temperatures. There's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're into into the 60s. So with that, mainly just a lot of rain and not a ton of storm potential. There's that 7-day forecast overall. We are all staying blue. No more alert days because of that heat and humidity. We are far from that. 80 degrees for our high today, only a 20% chance for a stray shower. Temperatures tonight will dip down into the 60s, 70s for our high tomorrow, and stay close to the WCNC weather team. We'll keep you up to date with the very latest.
And that is a look at your forecast. All right, we want to get to this press conference that's happening live. So this is a live look from Webster, Massachusetts. This is in the Boston area. So right now you're watching a press conference with animal control there. They're sharing that more on a large pet lizard. Yes, a large pet lizard that escaped from 2 weeks ago. Again, Webster's Animal Controls, they're holding this news conference right now. It escaped 2 weeks ago. Let's take a, yeah, that's the goose. So I just wanted to make sure I was saying the right name because I saw goose in the title. I was like, maybe this is not the right name. It's goose. That's the name of the large.
The lizard's name is Goose.
The
and it says the goose is no longer on the loose.
So okay, it's all right. So animal control, one of the rare times you find me speechless. Let's take a listen in. This is for Webster Animal Control. Let's take a listen in.
We're more than happy to answer anything throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So do you have any idea how far, distance-wise, he actually traveled while he was out on the loose?
Yeah, so I'll let Scott.
Yeah, I'll answer that, sir. The location it was taken from escaped from on Blueberry Lane is about 2 miles, 2.5 miles away, almost direct north-south from the location it was in. It was located off of Southwest Main Street in the jurisdiction of Douglas.
Are these dangerous reptiles?
They, like any other wild animal, they can be. They have razor-sharp teeth, pretty sharp claws, and again, this was a somewhat domesticated critter. So it was a little easier. If that was a straight wild one, this would have been a lot harder to do. But yes, any wild animal can be dangerous. When you have an animal that has teeth as sharp as this, claws as sharp as it, basically it's a big muscle also. It's very difficult to hold on to.
Do you guys have any scrapes or scratches from
Nope.
catching them?
Nope. We ended up, I was defecated upon, but other than that, it is what it is.
Are the people who owned him illegally facing any charges or facing any consequences?
Yes. We knew this was what was coming. All right. With this particular manner, with most fish and wildlife crimes, you have 5 options. You have a verbal warning, written warning, a non-criminal citation, a summons, or an arrest. This could have reached any of those levels. Through the investigation done by Officer Heward, we stopped by. We spoke to the individual. While they knew they were not in possession of the animal, there's a lot of stuff going around. I was personally at the facility looking at it. The animal was very well taken care of in the time it was there. There was no issues with that. The wounds that people are seeing on it were pre-existing. That's actually part of the reason she had it. She was trying to work with rehabbing. In this particular manner, the state felt after looking into it, there was no history or anything else like that. All the animals being taken care of. The party was cited non-criminally. Okay, there were 2 charges in it, one being the possession of the animal itself, Chapter 131, Section 25, and then the lack of an importation permit. Again, if you're going to bring an animal into the state of Massachusetts that is required to have a permit, you'd have to have that importation permit also. That was issued as a warning in that particular manner, and it is presently in the court waiting for disposition to be completed.
Are there any bad environmental factors associated with having a water monitor in Massachusetts for?
A single water monitor, I'm guessing like a lot of chipmunks wouldn't like it around, quite frankly. But any animal that comes in that has the potential to be invasive, water monitors, anybody that takes a look down into Florida, and Mac and Joni can talk about this a lot more if you need to, but they're significantly affecting the population down there. One of the limiting factors with this particular animal is, again, temperature up here. Okay, that was the big concern on our part. We wanted to find this animal very quickly. They're a very, very temperature-sensitive animal. The only reason we caught it basically is because it came out to sun itself by the asphalt to get warm. Just like a turtle, just like a snake that we have up here. They come up, they warm themselves up with the sun. They're ectotherms. And that's how we ended up catching it, which is what I figured was going to happen at one point or another. When you start getting these into large numbers, then you see what happens in Florida. You know, Florida has almost no small mammal population left because of the invasive reptiles that are down there.
Question here. You mentioned something about drawing something. Can you just explain that again? And also the resources and time and manpower to do this. Was it worth it?
Okay, the marking was simply, basically, we marked the street with a piece of paint.
Which street?
Southwest Main Street, sir. Okay, as for your resource question, well, we have an animal that was released that at one point could have been detrimental to the natural population. We have a population that was put into a great deal of fright by people on social media for an animal that was going to attack small children, eat cats and dogs, with very little scientific information put into it. The resource and man hours, yeah, we put a lot into it, but in the end, we have the animal back. The animal will be taken to to rainforest reptiles where it'll live out a happy, healthy life. So in the end, yeah, I would definitely say it was worth it.
Quick question.
Sir.
So when in the process of finding Goose, those two DCF members, how did that happen? The timeline of how you found Goose in the area.
Okay, well, it's DCR, not DCF.
DCR, excuse me,
That's not it, but Zach, would you like to?
So it was a Saturday afternoon. We were just out and about. We knew it was in the area. We decided to take a ride over, and lo and behold, it was just sitting on the side of the street.
Which street?
Southwest Main.
Mm-hmm.
We followed it in, and it was like, as Amadi said, 10 to 15 feet off the street. So it was right there in front of us.
Mm-hmm. And where did he go exactly? I know that there was a mention of trying to fish him out with chicken. Explain how that happened.
Yeah.
Well, and again, none of this would have happened without Zach that particular day. We'd actually had an onlooker come by with a large pickup truck making a lot of noise. We had to shoo away, and in the time we actually had eyes on the animal, and in the time frame that we were yelling at them to go away, we lost sight of it. Spent about 5 minutes in the woods after that, and I was ready to call it quits at that point because I didn't want to spook it any further. Zach had found a small cavern underneath the root of a tree, which was in direct line of where the animal was, which we all just missed due to the vegetation that was present. Took a look in there, and there's a tongue sticking out at me. So that was how we found him.
Are you able to see the closest cross street on Southwest Main?
Yep, Southwest Main down by High Street, probably about 500 to 750 feet northeast of the intersection.
And which town was this?
This is Douglas, sir. Yep, it's right before the Connecticut line. That's why we were getting lots of folks reporting it down in Thompson. And I have seen reports that, this thing traveled in excess of 30 miles somehow or another. Somebody reported that Thompson is 13 miles away from Douglas when they touch each other. So, again, I don't understand how that works, but.
Does the animal have any injuries?
The animal had no injuries that we noticed at the time other than the pre-existing ones. Mac and Joni can explain anything further on the animal's health.
Was it emaciated at all, hungry?
Yeah. So since he had been out of containment for such a long period of time, he was very hungry when he first came into our care. We did offer him a meal of different meat products and things like that, and he immediately took them. If he did defecate on Captain Amati, most likely he probably did have some food items when he was out and about. But just to talk about the injuries and things like that, there's a lot of photos online that you can see of the white marking that's actually along Goose's back, and you'll see it today. That's actually most likely from a prior injury from when he was in another person's care. So that's scar tissue over time. As they shed, they're actually regenerating that old skin and making it so that they can, just like us when we're healing from a cut and things like that. The most common culprit for things like that is actually a heat light or a burn. But there's all different factors that could actually be determined from that specific instance.
Do we know if he was brought up from Florida, or where did he come to Massachusetts from?
Okay, the animal came from Massachusetts, from New Hampshire, out of New Hampshire. We are still working on bits and pieces of that portion of it. As for the injury, it was described as, to me, and I wouldn't know this because I didn't have the chance to talk to him about it. Apparently, the animal got stuck underneath something at one point, and when they tried removing it, not the person that had the care of it today again, previous owner had ended up getting the injuries at that point.
And Goose managed to escape captivity. He wasn't released from captivity.
Correct. Goose escaped through a screen window.
Is this how you all thought you'd be spending your summer?
I'm thrilled. I'm a big reptile and amphibian guy, so I have no concerns with it whatsoever. I spent some time working in Florida chasing alligators. So.
And you sounded pretty confident the whole way that you were eventually going to find Goose. Is that?
Oh no! I had concerns. Again, you've heard people mention needle in a haystack. Again, Douglas State Forest it's huge. It's a large piece of property. I was getting concerned when we get these reports and he would just disappear that fast. You had a lot of years of experience out looking for it. And just happens to be. It shows you. No matter how much you know, there's always something new to learn. So, anything else for the man of the hour? Or actually, unknown male or female at the time. But
yeah.
Oh, really? You want to? Yeah. You want help?
Yeah.
That Mamadi, if you want to help, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen to Goose from this forward. Goose is going to be going for a health inspection tomorrow. He's all set up and ready to go to the vet, at which time we will release some information about that once we have that confirmed. When that is confirmed, he will go back to our sanctuary, RRS Oasis, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, and he will be quarantined for about 6 weeks. We will post a few videos, a few pictures of him, but as far as coming out to the public or anything like that, that won't be happening until he is out of quarantine. We have also discussed for the residents here of Webster, that we will try to have a specific day that if people would like to view him personally, we will try to do that. This all comes down to him, to Goose himself, if he's up for it, and we feel that he would be comfortable doing that, we will do that. If he's stressed out and he doesn't feel comfortable doing it, we will not do it, but we will keep everybody apprised to that. And again, I want to say we have received a few donations. I want to thank everybody who has donated. I know Mac touched upon it. We actually started the nonprofit because the co-founder Michael Robuski and myself, Joan Gallagher, funded this, have always funded this since 1996 when we started doing this. So we had to start the nonprofit because it became burdensome. We financially could not do it like we would wanted to have it done. So any donations we do appreciate. We think that would be great, and we will keep everybody updated on that.
So guys, you can see he's a melanistic animal, which means that he's pretty much all black in coloration. He's got oversaturation of the black pigmentation throughout his body. He's not what a normal water monitor or Asiatic water monitor would look like. He is pretty calm in general. He is trying to manipulate himself to kind of look around and see what's going on. But you can see those marks on his back, and that's what I'm talking about by the prior injury. Normally he would just have all that black coloration around his body. So he does have that really long tongue, and that's one of their best senses that they use. They smell with their tongues. He has 2 holes on the roof of his mouth called Jacobson's organs that they can smell, and they can smell even better than people can. Monitor lizards have extremely long tongues to be able to do that. You can see that he's not 100% comfortable being held, but he is pretty calm. A really nervous lizard would be turning and attempting to bite and do things like that. But again, he's had a very eventful couple of weeks. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
And I do want to say this is just one example of what the environmental police and our organization does that you don't hear about. We do this all the time.
Is he full size?
No. So monitor lizards, or Asian water monitors like him, can sometimes exceed somewhere about 8 to 9 feet long. And weigh up to about 90 or so pounds, but that's a really big individual. On average, they're going to be about 6 to 7 feet and weigh probably about 50 to 60. So he will get bigger. I don't know the sex or the age of this animal, but I would assume probably a younger guy, not super old. I'd say somewhere between probably 5 and 8 or so.
There you go. Good boy. Is there any footage of Goose's arrest, so to speak?
Yes, there is.
Do you know when it will be released?
Hopefully sometime later today, sir.
Thanks.
That's the plan.
You're doing so good.
This is done great.
He's doing so good.
Now keep in mind, in the wildlife trade, from talking to Mike, he had explained this animal, again, with the markings on its back, it's going to devalue it, but potentially has the value of between $6,000 and at fully grown $20,000.
Why are they so expensive? Like what
They're rare. The fact that you can't have them, you will find in a lot of, believe it or not, in the criminal trade, you will find with animals it's a status symbol. You'll start off with your, excuse me, your lower tier criminals. They'll have alligators and things like that. And as you go up, you'll get into monitor lizards, you'll get into cobras, you'll get into lions, tigers, bears, the whole shebang. Again, it ends up being a status symbol. Some of these animals are very, very rare.
And it is also up to breeders. Breeders, when they have one animal, will breed specific animals together to get a new color because that's a product. They can sell that color as a product. And as they do that more and more,
All right, so that is coverage from NBC Boston. That's a press conference out there in Webster, Massachusetts. As you see, or you saw there on your screen, you see a picture of it. That is Goose. You saw Goose making his TV debut there after a press conference. So Goose went missing for 2 weeks, and Animal Control were able to get him captured to safety.
This is wild.
You saw that close-up of Goose. We did not think, and here's Goose again, we didn't think they were going to bring out Goose, but here's Goose. Officials are talking about the escape, and actually they're talking about what's next for Goose there. Let's take a listen to them to what they're saying right now.
Ear on the outside to help pull the sound in like we
All right, so we are working to get that, get a better shot for you. But yes, there you go. All right, here's Goose. Let's take a listen in.
East Asia and South Asia, where they live, they are extremely aquatic. They hunt for fish all the time. They feel very confident and comfortable in the water, and it allows them to cool down very, very well.
How fast is he?
He can move quick when he wants to. He can move up to about 12 miles per hour when he really wants. And when they're moving quick, they move very quick. And that's how they catch all the different prey items that they'd be searching for in the wild, is they're just very, very quick animals. All right. Well, I think from there, we're going to go ahead and put them back and let them rest. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, with all the memes going around, it's like not a fan. He's no stranger to the camera.
He's kind of our unofficial mascot of Webster. Part of me is sad to see him go. So one thing I do want to point out, and I just want to thank all the agencies that were involved in the capture of Goose. Our animal control officer worked hours and hours and hours with the environmental police and the DCR folks. This was a true team effort, and I don't think we would have had the outcome that we had. And the rainforest folks, the reptile rainforest show. Yes. This was a true team effort. It really was, and I'm thankful that it had the outcome that it did. I had my doubts. I didn't think we were going to find him. Then when we had the sightings, there was a little bit of hope there, and I'm glad that we had the outcome, and he's going to a place where he'll be well taken care of. And I just want to thank everybody that was involved in this. That was a huge undertaking for us, and we had a great outcome for it. So. If anybody has any other questions?
Just another clarifying question. Do you know where you can find the footage? I forgot to ask about where the footage would be when it comes out today. Apologies.
Well, I'm not a media person. My understanding is we'll have something out on our website at one point. That is the goal.
And another question, if possible, are you able to disclose the name of the person who owned Goose?
I actually, believe it or not, and nobody's going to believe me that I don't know it. But, so again, those are court records. You could look at it into that regards. I don't know what the chief said while I was out for a second. I did want to make sure to thank all of our partners in this. Gentleman here asked about, again, resources. Again, this is why we're here, folks. We're here to help folks. And again, on our side, if we can help critters along the way. It was a pleasure to work with all of the folks involved. You would not have been able to do this alone in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I've got a small amount of experience with this. Mike and Joni have a ton. But a good team effort by everybody from Webster PD to DCR to the ACO to Rainforest to us. Again, it's a nice example of what happens when folks work together. You get a good ending out of it, and we'll all move forward. And again, he's in the Taj Mahal of places to be now. So he ended up lucking out and hitting the lottery. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody has anything else? Or?
5 feet, 5 foot.
I'd say he's more closer to about 4 feet.
4 feet.
4 feet in length. Yeah, he's a little smaller than initially reported.
Can I just get a couple more names? Or should I do this when all the cameras are off? Or?
It's up to you folks.
We can do it now.
Yeah.
So, your name, sir?
Zachary Poitras, Poitras.
Zachary?
Yes.
And you're with the DCR?
Correct.
Okay. And your name again, sir?
Scott, last name's Amati, A-M-A-T-I.
Captain.
Captain with the Mass Environmental Police.
Your name there?
Joan Gallagher.
J-O-A-N?
Yep.
And you are with...
I'm the president of Rainforest Reptile Shows and RRS Oasis, which is the sanctuary. And actually, anybody would like one, I do have cards here that if you want to follow up on us, you can, and we will get back to you. Matt will be monitoring any questions that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We are at the bottom of the hour there. Press conference wrapping up. Both shots went down. All right. So you saw there a large lizard there in the Boston area escaped. It was a pet lizard. You see it right there. His name is Goose. Escaped for 2 weeks. Captured by Animal Control there in Webster. They held a press conference talking about how they were able to get Goose, also what's next for Goose, and they showed Goose. Mm-hmm. Goose made an appearance on TV.
I learned more in this one news conference than I have from so many other news conferences.
Yeah.
There was a lot of information available.
We were all shocked to see.
Oh, we all stopped and watched. We were talking. We couldn't believe it.
I did not expect to see Goose.
It's not often you get Critter Corner here on Live Impact News.
At all.
But today we got Critter Corner.
Took a little break from politics to talk about to talk about some other news in the lands of reptiles, and I guess we can stick to the theme of reptiles because we have another story this time in Florida. All right, so take a look at this video. This is video from a Florida deputy. All right, so a Florida deputy in St. Johns County helped capture a gator from a backyard pool in St. Augustine before buckling the gator in the back of his patrol car. So he buckled up the gator. Yes, put the seatbelt around the gator.
Nope. Oh my God! Look at that thing.
This was posted on Sunday on the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. It shows that deputy wrangling the gator out of the pool with his bare hands,
as one does.
And then you could see there that gator is going for a ride in the back seat. And so that deputy put in that gator in the back seat and is, you see there, buckle him in. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, seatbelt for safety.
That's right. For his own
there
safety.
You go.
Wow.
You thought I was
Click
joking.
it or ticket, Nick.
The viewers at home said, no way he did that. He did. So again, the deputy with his bare hands grabbed that gator, put the gator in the back seat. The gator just wanted to, get a dip, get a nice swim. I'm sure it's hot there.
Oh, I'm sure.
So the gator just wanted to cool off. Saw a pool, went inside,
Saw the opportunity and took it.
and got busted. So we don't know if that gator has bond right now, or what that bond is, or what charges that gator is facing. He's not
Resisting
liking
arrest a little bit, too.
Resisting arrest is one of those charges. They had to put, you see that tape or restraint around the gator's
That's what I was
mouth.
wondering, because when they put it in there, I was like, did I miss the tape? Because I was like, your back seat could get torn up.
Yes. So that gator is buckled up, and he, as far as we know, is in the St. Johns County Detention Center there in Florida. So as soon as we get more information, we will update you. Look, we just had to keep the theme of the reptile. Again, after that press conference with the large lizard, we wanted to take you here to Florida, St. Johns County, Florida. I can say, from my information, nobody was hurt. So that's the good news. We can kind of get these jokes off and make more of a light moment out of this. All right, let's move away from that. Man, it's not the show that I was expecting going into the start of the afternoon, but here we are. All right, so we need to make a turn. We need to make a serious turn. So we need to go out. We need to come back home first, and we need to go out on the roads. This is a live look. Can we say live look or picture?
This is the latest picture from
latest
the traffic
picture.
camera.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is in Concord, Cabarrus County, Nick. The left 2 lanes are blocked before exit 52, Poplar Tent Road, because as you can see, there appears to be a crash here, and there's an ambulance and medical personnel on scene addressing any potential injuries.
All right, so according to drivenc.gov, I-85 near Poplar Tent, this is where the accident happened. 2 out of 4 lanes closed. And anytime you're 85 is a busy stretch, right? And I know I'm talking about 85 as in, we know 85 is a long stretch throughout Charlotte and Cabarrus County, but it feels like at every point of 85 it's busy, and hopefully I'm not exaggerating that. And so I just want you to be mindful of this wreck. I'm trying to see how long the backup is. Usually drivenc.gov gives.
I'm looking at it here, Nick. It looks like if you got off at Highway 73, Davidson Highway, you would avoid the backup.
Okay. Because they don't have any detours suggested, so it looks like because they have two lanes open essentially on this crash. But this is the latest picture on this crash, and this is a map of what we are looking at right now. Is a map, and this is from drivenc.gov. This is where we get a lot of our information when it comes to these traffic backups, vehicle crashes. Again, this is in Cabarrus County, Concord. I-85 near Poplar Tent.
I think they might have the whole road closed. The picture just updated.
Yeah.
And you can see
the whole road is
here.
closed.
So it looks like the whole road is closed now.
Oh, wow. Okay. It is going to get very interesting. And it looks like the amount of red I'm seeing on the map is spreading.
It looks like the backup, like I'm just looking at mile mark, it's probably like 1.5 miles-ish of backup where the red is right there. So it's starting to
form.
Yeah.
Yeah, that camera on the top right, I think if we come back to it in a couple minutes, you'll start to see the increasing backup reach that next camera.
And we got this report about 15 minutes ago. I mean, we got this information about almost 20 minutes. We'll say almost 20 minutes at this point ago. So this is pretty fresh as far as this happening. So we may just be seeing the beginning of what could be long backups, folks. And again, this is heading south. So this is heading towards Charlotte.
Yeah, it's just before the exit for the Concord Airport.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's So if you're heading into Charlotte, either for work or if you're from outside of the area heading into Charlotte, just be mindful of this crash. James, you said you had a suggested detour.
Davidson Highway, Highway 73. Okay. Which is that camera in the top right.
Okay.
You can get right off there and work your way around it.
Work your way, yeah. And once you, and with 85 and that stretch, once you get off an exit, you can kind of take the scenic route back onto the highway as a workaround. So it looks like from our latest picture that most, if not all, the lanes are shut down. I keep updating drivenc.gov. Let's see.
And they actually just moved it off to the side.
Okay. So it
You
looks
saw
like
that all in real time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we saw that all in real time. Yeah, and then as I refreshed, it said the right shoulder is closed. So that's good news for drivers going through the area. It looks like you're able to get through there and not be as much of a traffic impact as we were looking at. Again, it looks like in what we're reporting right now, what Drive-NC is reporting, that the crash is moved to the right shoulder. And it's closed before exit 52, which is Poplar Tent Road.
It's probably why they shut down the lanes to get everything moved over.
Which, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Again, a lot of stuff with Live Impact News we're learning in real time. As you learned here today, if it's your first time watching, a lot of stuff we are learning in real time. So this is what we have here. We will continue to keep an eye on this. Let's get to Jesse. Okay, so Jesse Pierre is covering a story about mobile cameras at a park, I believe it's in West Charlotte, Enderley Park. Neighbors and folks there have expressed concerns over safety, and so the county and officials there are stepping up to do something about it. So let's check in with Jesse about these mobile security cameras there.
So we're here at Enderley Park, and folks I spoke to tell me this is a beautiful park and they are enjoying all of the new renovations that have been made here. You have the course, you have the playground. It's just a really nice park for folks to enjoy, but there was a concern, and that is because of the drug activity going on here. And if you look at the sign right here, illegal drugs, smoking, tobacco use, all prohibited, but it didn't stop folks from doing it here, especially happening under this shelter that is right behind me. Now, there was a mobile surveillance camera that was added to the park not too long ago, and folks told me they saw a huge difference, but the camera's already gone, and folks tell me they want it back to make sure that the crime stays out of these grounds. Coming up at 4 and 6, I will speak to the Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec Commissioner, and he'll tell me a little bit more about what is the deal with the camera that was here, where did it go, or plans to keep this park safe. We'll also ask him about other safety measures going on at other parks in the county. Back to you, Nick.
And that is Jesse Pierre, and she'll have more. I usually have the times up. Let me give me a second. Jesse will be on WCNC Charlotte with the story at 4 and 6 o'clock this evening. Now we want to move on to another story. A diner is closing in Charlotte. This is a diner, and you may be familiar with it, Maddie's Diner. It is, or it was located in Plaza Midwood.
Yeah, I think they are for a couple more days.
Okay, a couple more days. So it's still there, but they have decided to close. James, you're familiar with this diner, right?
I have eaten at both of their locations.
Okay.
So as you mentioned, Nick, they have a location kind of Plaza Midwood-ish, and they used to be over by the, I think it was called the NC Music Factory. That has a different name now, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So they have had two different locations here in the Charlotte area in the decade or so I've lived here. So they were by the Music Factory, they closed, and then they came back a couple years ago in this new location, and now we've learned, Nick, they're closing again.
And I've seen it. I've never gotten a chance to eat at Maddie's Diner, but every time I've driven by it, it's popular. A lot of folks are there. So Miles Harris is following up on this story, on the closure. I believe that Miles speak with, I didn't get a chance to check his update, and I guess I could be patient and wait to, okay, let's be patient. Okay, I try to give you guys a sneak peek, but here's Miles, more on his story later concerning the closing of Maddie's Diner. Let's take a listen in.
Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte. We are in North Charlotte focusing on this staple, as you may call it, Maddie's Diner. Maddie's Diner has really been a part of Charlotte for as long as I've actually been in the area here. And their establishment just posted on social media, and the owner just mentioned that this business is now up for sale. So I got a chance to talk to the owner, Matt King, on kind of what made them lean into this decision. And he mentioned that it's not a financial decision that they're making here, is that he actually has opened a couple of other businesses, including the Wafflery, and they are just trying to focus on those establishments, one here in Charlotte, but also one in the Boone area in Western North Carolina. And again, really just trying to focus their time and efforts towards that for himself, for his family, and really just trying to make the best business decision for them in that matter as well. So we got a chance to talk to him about that. Again, Maddie's Diner, it is up for sale. But he is hopeful that whoever does take over this business can keep the name, keep its taste, keep its style, keep all of that intact for the business, and they are now hoping that somebody can oversee that, keep it as it currently is, and making sure that it is a huge mark in this North Charlotte community. But we also got a chance to talk to a economist out at UNC Charlotte and kind of weighing in on what could we see change here, not just in the near future, but over the next couple of years when it comes to local and small businesses trying to keep above water. He says, you know, because of those tariffs and those impacts, they could weigh in on these businesses who don't have a lot to kind of lean into those to those changes when it comes to the finances. They might have to go into those businesses, to those owners, and they have to make some really challenging decisions here. So again, we'll kind of keep an eye out and see who actually ends up buying at this business. But again, Maddie's Diner is now up for sale in hopes that they can keep the name, its style, its taste all here as well.
All right, so that's Miles Harris on the closing of Maddie's Diner. You can catch Miles at 5:30, and after that story airs, you can catch it obviously on our news app and on our website, WCNC.com. Again, a staple in the community. All right, so let's go back into the vault. All right, so back in 2021, when Maddie's moved, we got a chance to interview the owner. Back in 2021, 2021 feels like a lifetime ago, but 2021, about 4 years ago, as they were moving to their current location now in Plaza Midwood, we got a chance to catch up with the owner. Let's take a listen into that interview from 2021.
My name is Matt King. All my friends call me Matty, and I am the owner of Maddie's Diner. We bought the diner in New Jersey and moved it down here back in 2005, and we were located in the Music Factory from 2010 to 2015, and then they sold that land, and we've had it in storage for about 6 years while we were looking for a new location, and we were fortunate enough to find this location here on the plaza in Shamrock. Yesterday we had our diner in storage about 3 miles away from here on Statesville Road, and we moved it over to the site and dropped it off here. And today we brought the crane out and we just picked up the diner from its blocks, and we're setting it on top of its foundation. It weighs about 42,000 pounds, and these guys have been working on it for about 5 hours now, I guess, to get it set in place. And then once that happens, we can continue building, and we'll be open up in about 8 weeks. You know, we expect, if I'm being totally honest, we expected to be open by now, and then COVID came along and slowed us down. There's a lot of hiccups along the way. We had to spend about 6 months getting the property rezoned, and to get to this day has been, it's just really exciting. The diner is a community place just by nature, so we wanted to find a nice, strong community that's walkable, that has a lot of residential around, that we can just become a part of the fabric of the neighborhood. And it's just a great up-and-coming neighborhood. And we've been through some meetings with the neighborhood association. We've met a ton of the neighbors, and we're excited to be here, and they're excited to have us.
And that is the owner of Maddie's Diner, Matt King. That's from 2021 when they were moving from that location. What was that location, James?
The NC Music Factory is what it was known at the time.
To now Plaza Midwood. Now they announced that they are closing the property up for sale.
You want to buy it?
You said what?
You want to buy it with me? How much do you think it costs?
Oh,
I'm really good at Monopoly. We could buy it.
I guess.
That's a hard pass.
I sound like Peter Griffin right now. Let me get back to you on that one. All right, let me get.
I'm from New York. I love a good diner.
I ate at a really good diner Saturday. That's what I say recently, but it was Saturday. Yeah. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get to something live. All right. So happening right now in Houston, Texas, Second Lady Vance is hosting an event for children from kindergarten to 8th grade at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. She will read a space-related book to kids and participate in other activities as part of her summer reading challenge. NASA astronaut Sunny Williams also there she is right there on the screen on stage. All right, there's Sunny Williams. Let's take a listen in.
Well, just like someone who's passionate.
Passion for learning reaches beyond the stars. Usha Vance is an accomplished attorney, advocate, and mother of 3 who's inspiring the next generation through the Summer Reading Challenge. She's turning pages into possibilities, encouraging young minds across America and beyond to dream big. That's you guys. Read often and aim high. So please join me in welcoming a true champion for education and imagination, the Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance.
Hello guys, and thank you so much for letting me come join you here at camp today. This is really exciting for me because I love space and I love NASA, and I can't believe that I get to hang out with a real astronaut. So I can't believe you guys get to do this all week. But I just wanted to invite you to do something with me this summer after camp's over. My kids are actually here hiding somewhere in this room. And this summer we've been reading a lot of books. And what we are doing is a summer reading challenge where if you read 12 books, you can pick anything you want. It could be about space, dinosaurs, princesses, it doesn't matter. Just write those down on a list, ask your parents to send it to me, and I'll send you a little prize at the end and a certificate congratulating you on being a big summer reader. And I'll also enter your name in a drawing to come visit the White House in Washington, D.C. So I hope you'll try to do it. Talk to your parents about it. It'll be a lot of fun. And now I think we have a book that we're going to read together and answer some of your questions.
Okay, I think we should get started. What do you think?
I think so. All right, well, I understand you guys can see the pictures, but if anyone needs me to turn it around, you shout it out, okay? We're reading Margaret and the Moon, How Margaret Hamilton Saved the First Lunar Landing. It's by Dean Robbins, illustrated by Lucy Nisley. Okay. Margaret Hamilton loved to solve problems. She came up with ideas no one had ever thought of before.
Why were there only daddy longlegs? Margaret had a solution. She would call some of them mommy longlegs too. Why didn't girls play baseball? Margaret had a solution. She would join the team herself.
Why didn't more girls grow up to be doctors or scientists or anything else they wanted? Margaret had a solution. She would study hard in every subject at school.
Reading, music, art, and especially mathematics. She learned as much as she could about addition and subtraction, multiplication and division.
Margaret's father was a poet and philosopher who talked to her about the universe. She asked about how the planets moved, when the galaxies formed, why the stars shone.
I think that's yours.
She gazed at the night sky in wonder.
How many miles to the moon? 238,855. How many miles does it travel around the Earth? 1,423,000.
How fast does it go? 2,288 miles per hour. How big round is it? 6,783 miles. Margaret began solving harder and harder math problems. It was fun working her way through the steps.
She liked moving around the X's and Y's in algebra. She liked measuring circles and triangles in geometry. She liked studying curves in calculus.
And then she discovered computers.
Margaret could use this new invention to answer so many questions about the universe. She experimented with writing instructions or code that told the machine what to do. The code was called software, and Margaret called herself a software engineer. She started with something simple, asking the computer to add and subtract, multiply and divide.
Margaret taught herself to write code that performed more and more complicated tasks. She programmed computers to track airplanes through the clouds, and even to predict the weather. She made them do things they had never done before.
In 1964, Margaret got interested in an exciting project for NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Their scientists were working on the hardest problem humans ever tried to solve, flying people to the moon.
Could Margaret use computers to get the astronauts 238,855 miles there and 238,855 miles back? She convinced NASA's leaders to let her try.
Margaret thought of everything that could happen on a trip to the moon. Would the spacecraft go off course? Would it lose power? Would an astronaut make a mistake?
Margaret wrote code to tell the computers how to solve these problems. She worked her way through the steps just as she used to do in math class.
Soon Margaret became Director of Software Programming for NASA's Project Apollo, leading dozens of scientists.
She helped Apollo 8 orbit the moon 10 times. She helped Apollo 9 connect to 2 ships in space. She helped Apollo 10 get within 9 miles of the moon's surface. Hello there.
With Apollo 11, NASA would finally try to put people on the moon. Had Margaret thought of everything that could go wrong with the lunar landing? She checked her code again to make sure.
The astronauts were depending on her. You see the stack of Margaret's code there?
All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff! And Apollo 11 rose with a blast of the smoke and fire.
Margaret followed along from a control room, and the whole world watched on television.
For 4 days, the spacecraft drew nearer to the moon. The lunar module named the Eagle split off to make the landing. Yippee! But with minutes left to go, an astronaut entered a command and the master alarm buzzed. Oops.
The Eagle's computer started performing too many tasks. Overload! Overload! Yikes!
The control room panicked. The moon landing was in danger. Everyone looked at Margaret. Had she prepared for this problem? Of course.
Margaret's code made the computer ignore the extra tasks and focus on the landing. It brought the Eagle closer to the moon's surface. Closer, closer. Touchdown!
The Eagle has landed, announced astronaut Neil Armstrong. The control room cheered. Margaret was a hero.
Later that night, the Eagle's hatch opened. Margaret held her breath. Armstrong took the first step on the moon. The whole world celebrated in front of their televisions. As they're all saying, hurrah!
Margaret walked outside smiling. Her code had helped the astronauts get to the moon, and she knew it would help get them home safely. As always, she gazed at the night sky in wonder.
Houston's Explorer camps and children of our Johnson Space Center employees, but also children from across the nation and the world on NASA Plus. We know you have a lot of questions for the Second Lady and our NASA astronaut Sunny, so we'll jump right in and try to get to as many as possible. Caroline, a third grader from Tennessee, wants to know what each of your favorite planets are and why.
What our favorite weather?
Planets.
Planets. Oh, okay. You want me to start with that one?
Yes.
So it's awesome to look at planets and go outside and look at the night sky, but it's actually even more awesome when you're in a spacecraft and you can look down at this planet. So I have to say Earth is my favorite planet because we can also wear our bathing suits and go to the beach. Other planets, that might be a little bit more problematic.
Well, that's a really good answer, and probably should be my answer too. But I'll say that Jupiter is my favorite planet. And in fact, in our house, we have a painting that my little boy made when he was 5 of Jupiter as seen through the asteroid belt, and that's the way that I like to think about it.
All right, and then I know Brooks R., who's in the crowd. I know you have a question for both Ms. Vance and Sunny. If you want to come meet Jarrell up at this microphone right here.
If you could bring one thing to the surface of the moon, what would you bring?
Ooh. So if you could bring one thing to the surface of the moon, what would it be? Well, you know, we prepare a lot for the things that we're going to do on the moon, or wherever we go in space, but you never know if something might come up that you might not, know how to do or haven't practiced. So I would probably bring a tool. And a tool that I like is like a Leatherman that has multi-tools. It has all sorts of little things on it. And that way, if you run into any little problem, you have your tool, your trusty tool with you right there to help fix and solve that problem.
I think it's pretty unlikely I'd get to go to the moon since I'm not an astronaut like Sunny. But if I were lucky enough to do that, I think I might leave something to leave behind for a future kid to find there. And so one of the things I know is pretty cool right now is Pokemon cards. So I think I'd bring a Pokemon card and hide it there and see if any of you guys could find it.
I like that one.
Great. Now we have a question from Ryan in Florida for Ms. Vance. Ryan asks, do you ever want to go to space?
Oh, I would love to go to space. I think it would be the greatest adventure you could have. So I'm pretty excited that I get to talk to someone who's actually done it.
Fantastic. And now here with us today, we have Aria, a kindergartner from right here in Houston. Aria, would you like to ask Ms. Vance your question?
What's your favorite book?
Oh, that's a great question. I have a lot of favorite books. One of my favorite kids' books that I like reading right now is one you might like about space. It's called May Among the Stars. And then I have favorite books that I read when I was a little bit older, like the Little House books were some of my favorite by Laura Ingalls Wilder. And then I've got favorite adult books too, but probably less exciting.
Now Sam, joining us from all the way in Washington, has asked, if each of you could take one book to space, what would it be and why?
Oh boy, that's a little tricky. Probably The Little Prince. I really love that book, and it has so many cool connotations for life, and so probably The Little Prince, if you guys have heard of that.
I think if I were going to be in space for a while and I only had one book, I might get a little bored. So I might bring an encyclopedia, something that just has hundreds of things for me to read about all sorts of different topics.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Vanessa Rufus here in the Live Impact News studio. Nick Sturdivant has moved on to get ready for the 4 p.m. show, so we'll be together for the next hour. Wanted to set the table for the conversation at hand here. So we've talked before about an investigation regarding a certain handgun that authorities here in the state of North Carolina are using. We want to bring in our Nate Morabito, who's been digging into this and also getting an update for us. And so, Nate, it sounds like there could be more questions being asked regarding this firearm, and lawmakers kind of looking into, what sort of information they need to have about this handgun.
Right. Yeah, this is a big debate among gun enthusiasts. Number one, it's about the Sig Sauer P320. This is a popular police weapon. And here in North Carolina, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol uses this gun as its duty weapon. Mm-hmm. Now, back in May, we started reporting on this because our sister station up in Seattle, King TV, learned that the State Training Academy in the state of Washington banned the use of this gun after too many reported spontaneous discharges, let's call them, unintentional firing of this gun when people said it was either in their holster or their hand wasn't touching the trigger. So that's concerning. People getting injured by a gun that's supposedly in their holster without them pulling the trigger. So some police departments stopped using it as well. Eventually the Oregon Training Academy stopped using it. At the time of our reporting, we knew of more than 100 lawsuits filed against Sig Sauer, including with some officers from here in North Carolina, not with the Highway Patrol, but who said the same thing essentially happened to them. So we asked the State Highway Patrol, are you going to change anything? Are you concerned about this? And at the time, the agency said, we've used this gun for 8 years, over 2 different generations of the gun. There's been no spontaneous discharges. The fear has always been if this gun goes off once, it could kill someone. Especially with police, you have officers, their own safety and the safety of the public we're talking about. So fast forward, unfortunately, to July 20th, and at an Air Force base in Wyoming, a 21-year-old airman died after the military version of this gun, the M18, discharged. So immediately, the Air Force's branch that handles like the nuclear weapons in this country said, we're going to pause the use of this gun. I believe it's Air Force Strike Command. I may not be saying that right, but just know that they handle our nuclear weapons, protecting them. They said, we're going to temporarily stop using this gun, and we're going to inspect all M18s. Remember, the civilian version of the M18 is the P320. That's the gun, the P320, that law enforcement use. Also, a new lawsuit is filed by a person in Houston, a law enforcement officer who says, and they all say this usually, I know how to handle guns, I'm trained. Some of them are veterans, right, as well. I didn't do this. This wasn't me that caused the gun to go off. So he files a lawsuit. It's very similar to the one that we referenced, I believe it was the High Point Police Department back in May, the one that we were talking about. Well, nonetheless, our friends down in Tampa, our station, our content partner there, learned that Tampa Police, you spent some time in Tampa, Tampa Police, they were going to start reevaluating the use of their P320s because of this. And then the San Antonio Police Department says, we're going to temporarily stop using this gun because we're aware of a possible defect, and we're going to, out of abundance of caution, we're not going to use it anymore. So all of this led me to say, we need to ask the State Highway Patrol again, are you still comfortable using this gun? And initially I talked to them. They said there's been no discussions of moving away from this weapon. And I followed back up, nothing new to report. So Friday we interviewed Senator Mujtaba Mohammed. He represents Mecklenburg County with the NC Senate. And we were talking to him about a variety of subjects, but I wanted to get his thoughts on this because he is a member of public safety committees in Raleigh. And here's what he told us.
Law enforcement is a very tough job. I mean, these are men and women who literally put their lives on the line every single day. They kiss their families goodbye. The last thing we need is our law enforcement officer, our state highway patrolman, to be shot by their own firearm because it's spontaneously discharged. I appreciate you bringing the concern to me. I'm happy to reach out to the North Carolina Highway Patrol and the Department of Public Safety and figure out what's going on.
I first shared our reporting with him back in May, by the way, as well, and then followed up with these new developments. He's still waiting to hear back from the State Highway Patrol. I told the State Highway Patrol, let me know by noon today if you all are going to be changing anything. That was my deadline because we have a story airing tonight at 5 o'clock. So all this to say, there is growing concern about this gun. But at the same time, and Jeb, I don't know if you could look this up for me, but if you look up 6-hour P320 safety information, the company has basically on its website has all these different subheads of topics where it is trying to restore people's faith in this gun. And it talks about the Wyoming situation and how they're participating and they have trust that the Air Force will look into it. It talks about how this gun cannot, under any circumstances, fire without someone pulling the trigger. And they said it's been tested. So you have these two competing sides here, and there's public safety at hand in the middle of it. And this is what it really makes it different. And if you want to scroll down, you can see all these different kind of points there where 6 Hour is trying to answer any questions that people have. But we've reached out to 6 Hour for both stories we've done on this. We've not heard back from them. You'll see under this one right here, Jeb, scroll down just a tiny bit more for me. The P320, there you go, cannot under any circumstances discharge without the trigger first being moved to the rear. This has been verified through exhaustive testing by Sig Sauer engineers, the U.S. military, several major federal and state law enforcement agencies, and independent laboratories. In the past, P320's maker, Sig Sauer, has also indicated the majority of these problems are based on user error, whether it was some issue with a holster and maybe a key got into the holster, someone was carrying too much stuff and was rubbing up against it. There's so many lawsuits, though, that there's legal battles brewing. And I just go back to the fact that this person died, a 21-year-old service member. Before that, a person in the Northeast died, and his widow sued Sig Sauer. These lawsuits are pending still. So you have this growing body of evidence, and I think the question here is the North Carolina State Highway Patrol confident and comfortable enough to continue using this gun? And if they're not going to change it, the answer is clearly yes. But you have all these warning signs. God forbid this happens to any of our officers in the Carolinas or really across the country. We don't want to see anybody die. And I think it's just such an interesting debate because, again, life and death hang in the balance here.
Yeah. So for your piece tonight, what will we learn? You know, who are we going to hear from? Clearly, there's still some questions out there, but, you know, what are we presenting to viewers just so they can kind of get a good idea of?
Yep, you're going to hear from the most recent person-to-file lawsuit from Houston, a law enforcement officer there. This is interesting. There's a lawmaker in Florida who's saying, you're going to hear from him, you should not be using this gun. No law enforcement in that state should be using this gun until you can prove more often than not that this gun is not going to go off without someone pulling the trigger. You're going to hear more from Senator Mohammed, and you're going to hear kind of some of the additional details of what the Air Force is doing in this situation too. A lot of times when I report, I look at solutions. What are other people doing to help our situation here? In this case, we know there are problems in other places, and we're looking within North Carolina to see, should any of this raise an alarm here in our state to maybe take a closer look at this gun? And you heard Senator Mohammed say this. Law enforcement is already a difficult job as it is. We do not want to make it more dangerous for people. The question now is, how dangerous, if at all, is it for these trained officers to be carrying this gun in a holster?
Yeah. I mean, did any of these lawmakers address the fact that Sig Sauer itself said that there were so many tests that it had done, and it said independent tests and such?
Not that I'm aware of. I now tell you, in Washington State, which really kind of led the charge on banning this gun in a training academy, they had a task force that had a Sig Sauer representative on a Zoom meeting who basically gave plenty of other explanations of why this gun might go off. All of them other than it going off without someone pulling the trigger. Sig says that cannot happen. All of these other people are saying it is a problem. And in this law firm that we talked to back in May, they were in Philadelphia, but we interviewed the attorney, and this firm is now representing the airman's family who died. And all they want to see happen is that this gun go off the shelves and get fixed. If it can be fixed, they believe it can be fixed. And that's it. I mean, you know, there's all these lawsuits, yes, but at the end of the day, he told us, Robert Zimmerman, this attorney, we just want to protect other people. And that, through a statement of the family of the airman, they said the same thing. We just don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Yeah. When can folks see your piece tonight?
We're going to be on TV with it at 5 o'clock tonight. It's already online, though, if you want to take a look, WCNC.com. You can pull that up. It's fairly detailed. You can see our initial reporting, too. We're trying to take a really big look at this across the country so that we can be best informed here. And I think that's what's always so important when we're talking about issues that affect our state, our counties, our cities. We need to be educated so that we can come up with the best decisions of what we feel is right and wrong. And when I say we, I mean the taxpayers, the voters. If you have an opinion on this matter, whether you think it's safe, you don't think it's safe based on the other reporting, what's happening in other parts of the country, you should let your lawmakers know, one way or the other. Let them know how you feel on this, because these contracts to get guns, they're usually several years, and they cost us money. And we don't want to be putting money into something that could potentially hurt or harm someone down the road. The question is that the case here? And depends who you talk to, depends the response you're going to get.
Yeah, really interesting. All right, Nate, anything else you want to leave us with before we wrap things up?
No, I think it's just so critical. These lawmakers, they work for you, right? And we had a lot of controversy last week about concealed carry, talking about guns, and if people need permits anymore in North Carolina, and who's voting for and trying to overturn and I think successfully overturning the governor's veto when it comes to that. If you have an opinion on anything and you're not sharing it with your lawmakers or your elected leaders, they're not hearing you.
Yeah.
They're not scrolling through social media. They're not tuning in to the news to hear what their constituents are saying. You have a direct line to them. I just think it's so important for us all to reach out to our lawmakers, good or bad, and just share your feelings. That's what they're there for. Not just when it's a problem.
Right.
The rest of the time, speak up too. We're all busy. It's hard to do. But your voice does go a long way. And we can help amplify it when necessary, and we have in the past. These people are accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't answer you, reach out to me, because I'll make sure they answer you.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen cases where, whether it's on a local level or state level, even, federal level, where people making a lot of noise and speaking, their minds to policymakers made a difference. And,
Sure.
And in cases, as you referenced, kind of a last resort, as folks have kind of exhausted all the avenues, maybe coming to you, because we've seen you get answers as well. All right. Nate, thank you.
Yep, happy to do it. Happy to be here.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Folks, we have a live feed we've been monitoring here on Live Impact News. We're going to turn back to that right now. This is coming to us out of California, where we are getting live images as we speak from the air of a standoff underway in a Costco parking lot. So this is in Los Angeles, specifically Los Feliz, but this is basically a passenger van that's at the center of this standoff. There was a pursuit of this van, and it led to essentially where we are right now looking live. That is the Los Feliz Costco on Los Feliz Boulevard. The parking lot, as you can see, remains shut down. It's taped off. There's crime scene tape. Looks like there's officers on scene. And basically, you've got all these patrol cars that remain positioned out of the van, just right outside and kind of along the perimeter of where they've got most of this parking lot closed off, as you can see. Still trying to get some information about what led up to this chase. Police have not revealed much of that side of things quite yet. Of course, more details are likely to come out in the coming hours, but primary concern, as you can see at this very moment, is resolving this standoff. So once again, folks, watching here on Live Impact News, parking lot of a Costco in the LA area shut down as a standoff is underway with a passenger van. And this followed a pursuit of that van, a pursuit for which we're not quite sure, the prompting of it. But as we get more information, we'll pass it along. It does look like we've got, in our understanding of watching some of these standoffs, kind of a similar setup of what we usually see with these patrol cars set up near the subject in question, using the doors of their vehicles almost like a shield, and they're kind of standing behind them. And we're not really sure if they're having a lot of communication with the person either. As I look at the van, it looks like you can actually see someone standing in the doorway. Jeb, I don't know if we have audio from the, unfortunately no audio. Sometimes we do get audio if there's a reporter up in the chopper. Such is not the case today, but we'll keep an eye on this. All right, yeah. Seeing as though we're in a standstill here with this incident, we will once again come back as warranted as we see developments here. We've got weather to talk about. My goodness. What a change. So delightful. Hopefully you got some time outdoors today. If not, maybe a little bit later, maybe once you get off work. But let's go ahead and check in with our weather impact team to see what we can expect. How long will this heat relief last? Let's take a listen.
Well, good Monday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm, and if you love the weather over the weekend, the clouds, the rain, just the overall cooler conditions, I think you're really going to like what we have in store looking at our full 7-day forecast. First things first, though, today the cool weather will continue. Not only that, but we will have much more cloud coverage than sunshine. However, only a small chance for a few pop-up showers. Those rain chances tomorrow will really increase. And then taking a look at our full 7-day Monday forecast. Each and every day, temperatures will stay below where we should be for this time of the year. Yesterday, believe it or not, we only topped off at 76 degrees. I believe it. I was outside and it felt mighty cool. Today we're forecasting 80 degrees and our average for this time of the year is low 90s. That's where we should be, and we are far from that, not just today but over the next several days ahead. And hey, if you have any plans for your Monday afternoon, this is what the day will look like. Notice increasing cloud coverage, and again, we do have small chances for a few passing showers. Really, we don't think there'll be any storms today. It's an overall cooler day, so it won't have that fuel for those storms to actually form and to develop. But again, maybe a few showers here and there, not out of the question. Let's take you up to the mountains, where temperatures today only topping off at 66 degrees in Banner Oak. Out there towards Blowing Rock, much of the same, a little warmer for Boone. 69 is where you'll top off today for your Monday forecast. As we're heading throughout the foothills, plan for mainly mid to upper 70s, 75 degrees today for Lenore, 77 for Morganton. Hickory checking in at 76 this afternoon, and a little bit warmer as we're looking at the Charlotte metro area, mainly into the 80s for us. 80 degrees today out there towards Gastonia, Rock Hill, 78 for Lancaster, 79 for Monroe. So you can see generally today's just going to be a cooler day. As we're heading towards the next 3 days, though, you can see overall well below where we should be, well below those 90-degree temperatures. Tomorrow our high again only 76 degrees, and this is our temperature over the next 10 days. So today 80 degrees, sure, we'll take that. And then if you like those cooler temperatures, I mean, look at this, 76 degrees tomorrow. However, more rain showers are on the way. There will be some opportunities, of course, where it's going to be dry. So if you like to work outside in your yard when it's a little bit cooler and more comfortable, there will be plenty of opportunity this week. Or if you want to leash up your fur babies and get them outside while it's also still bearable, this week will be a good week to do it. Rain is going to also increase, but look at those overnight lows, feeling pretty nice with mid 60s ahead, and then we'll start to see a nice gradual warming trend towards the later half of the week. Look at this though, over the next 6 to 10 days, we're seeing a trend that shows kind of near normal temperatures. That takes us through August 13th, but then through August 17th, the heat is back on. So enjoy the cooler weather while we have it. It's not going to stick around for much longer past that 7-day forecast. We know those rain chances will be out there, and this is what our radar could look like at 7 o'clock tonight. Mainly cloudy skies, few passing showers, not out of the question. I don't think it's going to be very much. Perhaps overnight and into our Tuesday morning, your morning commute could be a little bit wet, and overall the coverage viewing area could actually see more rain showers comes Tuesday morning. There's 9 o'clock, even pockets of heavier rain. But notice those temperatures. There's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're into the 60s. So with that, mainly just a lot of rain and not a ton of storm potential. There's that 7-day forecast. Overall, we are all saying blue. No more alert days because of that heat and humidity. We are far from that. 80 degrees for our high today, only a 20% chance for a stray shower. Temperatures tonight will dip down into the 60s, 70s for our high tomorrow, and stay close to the WCNC weather team. We'll keep you up to date with the very latest.
Doesn't that look nice? Enjoy it, folks. Okay, so we've got an update coming to us regarding the North Carolina DMV. Of course, a really interesting topic here in the state, as lots of folks have spoken their mind about their concerns with some of the service, long lines, confusing ways to essentially get service there. We've had a lot of folks talk about how they've spent hours, maybe even multiple days, trying to wait there and get something taken care of. We have an update from the state auditor's office. Just a couple of hours ago, David Bullock had shared some findings from an audit on basically what's going wrong over at that agency and what can be done to improve things. So let's listen in to see what we've learned about the DMV.
Morning. Hope everybody's doing well. I've got an audit, and you know, let's just be honest. Audits aren't really all that exciting as a general rule, but today I do audit of the Division of Motor Vehicles. I'm incredibly proud of the work that the team has put forth with this effort. I'm joined on stage by some of our audit leaders. Audit Director Vernon Utley, who's at my direct right, Audit Director Jared Cronk, Audit Director Katie Gleason, Audit Manager Peter Gross, Audit Manager Kaylee Spruill, and Senior Auditor Ann Corbley is present, as well as Auditor Keith Mansa, who's in the room today. In total, we had about 20 auditors and specialists working on this DMV audit. And this is our first step at the DMV and our first stab. We've got more to do, but we analyzed everything, including the full DMV budget, which can be found at appendix in the appendix of the 435-page audit at page 257. As many of you know, in my previous service, I served as chair of the board of UNC Chapel Hill, and where at the university level, we always talked and often talked about the ability to leverage our public institutions of higher learning here in North Carolina to help improve the quality of life of all of our citizens. So consistent with that notion, as part of this audit, we asked and the team asked and they agreed, and we were able to engage the Institute for Transportation Research and Education, Dr. Daniel Finley, who's also present here today, from NC State University, the Bryan School of Business and Economics at UNC Greensboro, Dr. Joy Bedori is present here today, and we also engaged the UNC School of Government. I want to thank Dean Amy Wall for her assistance with that. Let me also say that Governor Stein and I have had a lot of conversations about the DMV. He has been incredibly helpful. I will say even more helpful has been new and should be, because it's his job, DMV Commissioner Paul Tyne. He's been fantastic to work with. I think he's a really good choice to lead the DMV. He's got a lot of energy. And Secretary of Transportation Joy Hopkins has been instrumental in helping our team. I want to also thank Senate President Pro Tem Phil Berger, Senator Dan Blue, Minority Leader Sidney Batch, Senators Vicky Sawyer, Michael Lazzara, Bill Rabin, and Todd Johnson. And on the House side, Speaker Destin Hall, House Majority Leader Brendan Jones, Minority Leader Robert Reeves, Representatives Jay Adams, Frank Eiler, Jeff McNeely, Phil Shepard, and Steve Tyson, along with Representative Alan Branson, who I know have worked really hard on DMV issues. But by far, however, the most thanks goes to the men and women who work every day at DMVs across our state. As part of the audit, our team fanned out across the state of North Carolina and engaged those individuals in one-on-one conversations in driver's license offices across the state of North Carolina. And guess what? They had some great ideas. They really know what they're doing at the ground level, and they have some fantastic ideas that we believe can help every single North Carolinian and make DMV more efficient. It's no secret I campaigned on the idea of auditing the DMV. But this effort with respect to the State Auditor's Office will not be isolated to just the DMV. This is an effort to make the State Auditor's Office relevant to everyday North Carolinians. We want to perform audits that matter. This is, however, clearly our first stab at a comprehensive type audit that seeks to inject relevance into the office of the State Auditor. The DMV is the most customer-facing government agency in the state. And if this audit and our do nothing else, folks, if this audit does nothing and falls flat, I will say this in a proud way, that this office has led the effort in shining a light and putting an emphasis on the fact that our DMV needs reform and that action needs to be taken. DMV affects the economy of North Carolina and the reputation of our state. You know, I woke up this morning early, probably 5:30, about normal for me, and where's WRAL? Are you here? Laura Levine was on TV this morning, and in the background was a line of people at Avent Ferry who had camped out or gotten there at 4 in the morning to try to get into the DMV to get help. You know, I was also watching TV and turning the channels last night. I see that CBS is doing a comedy show on the DMV. Well, folks, we've got to do better than that. Our DMV serves 8.6 million North Carolinians, and we have about 350 people that move here each and every day to our state. The DMV is an issue that at all levels of government we have agreement, and that we owe the people of North Carolina affixed to the DMV. We're releasing today what is officially a two-part audit. There will be additional audits of the DMV as we move forward, looking at things, for example, like license plate agencies. But these first two, which are really three in total, are an audit of information systems, a performance audit of the licensing and issuing function of DMV, and we have a full detail of the budget and spending of the DMV that is included in the appendix. We put it in the appendix because by its very nature the data is about a year in, but the budget analysis is instructive to the overall DMV story, and we wanted to make sure that that data was included. Our audit tells a story. We show how customer experience is deteriorating worse than we had even known, and how DMV employees are grappling with a growing workload, and how staffing issues are hurting the DMV and customers. This audit highlights how DMV management has struggled to improve its IT infrastructure, and ultimately we show a systematic breakdown and historically fractured relationship between the DMV and the Department of Transportation, where the DMV is housed. Now let me stop and say this right here. This is not a personality-based issue. I have found Commissioner Paul Tyne and Secretary Joe Hopkins to work really well together. They've also worked with our team exceptionally well, and I do think that they are committed to doing what's right on behalf of the people of North Carolina. But in making recommendations from the State Auditor's Office, we can't isolate our recommendations to particular personalities. It has to be recommendations that are based on ultimate long-term structure. The DMV particularly has gotten notably worse over the last 5 years. We had a constituent contact our office, for example. Her name is Letitia, and she had tried to get her driver's license renewed from November to May. So think about that time period. During one visit, she actually saw more than 100 people turned away. She took it upon herself to call. She actually got the phone number of a particular DMV employee and called every single day for 2 to 3 weeks until she finally was able to slip in and get her driver's license. We have here today Erin Van Horen. Erin, come on up, and when I ask her to share her experience with the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Thank you. I had a 16-year-old son at the time, and he was trying to get his driver's license. Didn't think it was going to be that big of an ordeal. Our first visit, we had an appointment 2.5 hours away because that was the only available time we could get. He was ready. We had everything to go. Perfect timing for us. We got there. No worker was there available to perform the test, the road test. So they said, you're going to have to go back to the system. So that's 1 day out of school and 1 day out of work for me. Our second visit was 3 hours away towards the mountains because that was the only appointment I could get. When we got there, their system was down. So they couldn't take us in. So that's 2 days out of school, 2 days out of work for me. The third visit, we were informed to go to Lillington because they have a no appointment required. We got there early at 6:30 in the morning. There were dozens of people camped out. Like you said, one man had spent the night there, sleeping bags. It was crazy. And 7:45, they come up with a sign that says no workers. Oh, it was awful. And then our fourth visit, I was able to get an appointment in Mount Airy. And I live in Holly Springs, so this is all a lot of traveling. We got the appointment, waited over 2.5 hours with an appointment, and was able to finally get his license. But since then, have restrictions on licenses where you can't drive after 9 for a certain amount of time. We have attempted 3 times to go to the DMV to get that released, and we just can't get in. And my son has missed a total of 4 days of school and 4 days of work without even getting his license out of provisional. He's going to be 18 this year, so we're just honestly winging it. But it's just been a very big ordeal for us, and we cannot seem to get an appointment anywhere for any more appointments for his renewal that's coming up in 2 years. So that's been the biggest problem for us, is just availability and the, from what we were told, lack of workers.
Thank you, Erin. It's Erinvanhore is how she spells her name, and she is a North Carolinian. And that goes to the point of why I decided when I ran for office that we would focus on the DMV. Our subject matter experts and
All right, we'll get back to this briefing as we're able to, but right now we want to talk about a big national headline. It's coming to us out of Texas, but really making national headlines at this point based on all of the high-profile natures of the movements, if you will, the political machinery that's happening here. So we want to join with Jason Whiteley, who's a senior political reporter at our sister station in Dallas-Fort Worth, host of Inside Texas Politics and the podcast Y'all-itics. Jason, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now what we're talking about, the fact that Texas redistricting attempts are really making a lot of waves. And last time we heard, it sounds like the governor there, Greg Abbott, is trying to, I guess, force in some ways these Democrats who have decamped, as we previously reported here on WCNC Plus. And the Democrats are trying to do this to deny the quorum needed to essentially pass these plans. What can you explain, just in a nutshell, if you're able to, for our viewers here in the Carolinas, about what you're dealing with in Texas? And of course, a big interest to us because we dealt and are still dealing with, the consequences of redistricting here in North Carolina.
Yeah. The Texas Democrats were talking about that just this morning when I was speaking to them. The Democrats right now from Texas, the House of Representatives, the Democrats there, the minority party in the state House of Representatives, have moved to a western suburb of Chicago. That's where we are right now. This is St. Charles, Illinois. And for people who don't understand redistricting, it's this nebulous, murky term. What the heck does that even mean? Anyways, the bottom line here is that the midterm elections are coming up in 2026. The party in power usually loses control of Congress. And right now, Republicans have a 3-seat majority in Congress. President Trump doesn't want to lose that very narrow majority. So he's asking Texas, the legislature in Texas, the largest Republican state in the United States, to redraw the congressional lines and make it easier for at least 5 more Republicans to win, to defeat 5 incumbent Democrats. So that's why the Democrats are really sounding the alarm here. They didn't really have an option. They don't have numbers big enough to stop this in the legislature with votes. The only real option they had was the Hail Mary, this nuclear option they've actually employed. That's physically leaving the state to deny a quorum. So the House of Representatives is going to meet in about 35 minutes or so in Austin, Texas, and they're not going to have enough members there to actually conduct business. So that's why the Democrats have taken off here. And unlike these that have happened in the past, in 2003 and in 21, this one really has national implications because control of Congress really hangs in the balance here with what happens in Austin.
Now, I mean, I alluded to the fact that the governor, Greg Abbott, is now weighing in, essentially threatening consequences and talking about some of the things that he could potentially do to try to get the Democrats to come back. What can you explain about that aspect? Sure. And is this an actual option that the governor has?
Yeah, great questions. The first thing that the Democrats who left Texas and came here to St. Charles, Illinois are going to face are $500 a day fines for every single day that they miss. That is the House rules in the Texas House of Representatives. So every day between now and August 19th, which is the end of the special legislative session, they're going to stay here in Illinois that long. They'll face $500 for every day. Now, the governor is saying, Governor Greg Abbott from Texas is saying, listen, that's not all. We want to do a number of things here. In fact, our Republican Attorney General, Ken Paxton, gave an opinion on this a few years ago that if you leave the state, then we can go to court and ask a judge to declare your seat has been vacated because it's not your place of residence anymore. But the Democrats here say, listen, that makes no sense. Our mortgage is still in Texas. Our water bill there, our property taxes we pay are still in Texas. That's our homestead. Coming up here for a few weeks is not like we're moving our residents up here. So it's a legal long shot. Some Republicans that I've been talking to say, nah, maybe not necessarily, because it could get tied up in court. But everyone that I'm talking to legal wise say it's doubtful this can happen, because if the governor leaves a state for anything, and he has done it, who hasn't left your state, then the same thing could be applied to him perhaps.
So, I mean, I mentioned the fact too, here in the Carolinas, we've talked about this topic at length in recent years, particularly, and we've seen, consequences, if you will, actual real life, effects of redistricting, in the sense of, we've had various incumbent Democrats in some seats basically decide that they're not going to run again, or they're going to try to seek a different seat because they realize the way it's been redistricted at this point is truly an uphill battle, and they're not even going to win the seat. So it's changed that much. And I mean, the other thing that we're seeing here, more recently in recent weeks, is this federal trial over, plans, and the complaint that we're seeing in that specific trial is the dilution of black voting power. So I guess I'm just curious, in Texas, what are some of the concerns that Democrats say that they have about these plans?
That is the very concern they have, is, listen, if you're going to redraw these lines, these Democratic districts, and put more Republican voters inside these districts, it is going to dilute the minority voters who are already in there, who were protected by the 1965 Civil Rights, the Voting Rights Act. And these districts that have been targeted, 5 total, 2 of them are in South Texas, in the very tip of Texas, down where Elon Musk launches his SpaceX rockets from. Those are huge Latino districts. There are some in Houston, there are some in Dallas as well, and those districts are mainly black voters that make up those. So the Democrats say, listen, by redistricting, by redrawing these lines and putting more Republican voters in here, you're going to dilute the power that the Democrats actually have in this state, the Democratic voters, the black voters, the Latino voters, even some Asian voters. I just interviewed a state rep here a moment ago from Dallas, a Democrat from Dallas, and he said this boils down to one thing. The lawmakers in Texas, in this case, the Republican lawmakers in control, they want to pick their constituents rather than constituents wanting to pick their lawmakers.
So I guess my next question is, what could potentially come next? Because I believe there's a deadline that might even be 20 minutes away at this point. I'm trying to think Central Time, because we're here on the East Coast, but I think it's 3 p.m. Central Time, by which the governor says, this is when we want to reconvene, and if you're not here, then this is when we start to put the hammer down. What comes in next in that point? And I'm even looking down the road, because, presumably you're probably going to have some Democrats who say that they're going to stay where they are. Can they stay there forever? They can't stay there forever, right?
That's a great question. Having covered this in 2003 when the Senate Democrats left over redistricting, and then in 2021 when they left over the Voting Rights Act in Texas, they can't stay here forever. This is all about getting the news cycle for Democrats, raising the attention, raising the flag on this. Sounding off to let everyone know that this is, for the first time really for Texas Democrats, this really is a national issue. They cannot stay here forever. And the House of Representatives gavels back into session in 19 minutes from now at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Central Time here. And they're going to reconvene, as always. The Speaker of the House will come in, gavel in, ask the clerk to call roll. The clerk will ask everyone present to ring their little bell on their desk, and you'll see the vote boards go up. And there won't be almost 60 members present. So you have to have 2/3 of the members. There's 150 members in the Texas House of Representatives. At least 100 have to be there. There will be 85 to 90 who are actually going to be there today. The governor doesn't really have a lot of say or sway in this right now. This is something that's protected by the Texas Constitution, the state constitution, and the Democrats say, we know we can't stay here forever. It's going to be very expensive for us to be here just for the 12, 14 days that we're going to be here for now. But at the end of the day, Republicans in Texas, they control the state. They have majorities. They win elections. They're going to get what they want out of this. The Democrats just hope to raise the flag on this and let people know about it before it's too late.
Yeah. I feel like we see that a lot lately, in the sense of, obviously there's a big disparity in the country, in the sense of, you do have one side that feels a certain way, and way on the other side of the aisle, you have this other group, and this other group is not in power, but we see a lot of attempts to, I guess, get the word out, put the headlines out there, if you will. But in the end, they know that it's probably not going to go their way. When you look down at like the process of how things are actually playing out, by the way, the rules are, if you will.
Yeah, and that's the question I've been asking lawmakers this morning from Texas. What does a win look like? And all of them individually told me that a win is if they can get people to know about this issue, this nebulous redistricting, and why it actually is important to them, because it might break up some minority districts in Dallas and Houston, and even down in the Austin area, and then in South Texas too. That's what they consider a win. But at the end of the day, Republicans tell me too, listen, if the Democrats are making a big deal out of this, they should concentrate and focus on winning elections. That's how you take control. And Republicans in Texas have only been in control since the early 2000s. They've had 25 to 30 years of control in the state. Prior to that, for more than a century, dating back to Reconstruction, Democrats were doing these things here. So both sides play the political games. We just happen to be living through this moment in history when Republicans have the ball in the court.
All right. So I guess what comes next for you? What are you looking out for as the senior political reporter who is on this beat right now?
Yeah, having covered these in the past, I think one thing that we'd be looking for is for the Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives, a guy named Dustin Burrows. After he calls roll, there's not going to be a quorum present. The clerk will tell him that. He can do a procedural thing. So say, okay, I want to put a call out to have all lawmakers, all members of the House come in. And at the same time, he can simultaneously issue civil arrest warrants to have police pick up the members of the Texas House of Representatives who are not there at the chamber. Now, this is the reason they came to Illinois. This is the reason some went to Boston, some went to Albany, New York as well this morning. They are in Democratic states, and the Democratic governor of these states, J.B. Pritzker, in this case here in Illinois, is not going to take a call from Texas, from Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, who might call and say, hey, listen, we have our Democrats up there. Do you mind picking them up, putting them on a flight, and flying them back to Austin? That's not going to happen. If they went to North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, even Georgia, even Florida, Governor Abbott could call the Republican governors of those states, have the state troopers in those states, the state police, go pick them up, but that's not going to happen here. So this is going to be a long, drawn-out game. The challenge for Democrats right now is how long can they sustain this? You and I are talking about this today on Monday. The quorum break officially hasn't happened. It happens in 15 minutes from now. So they have to sustain this through August the 19th. It's got to go for a while. And keeping the public attention on this is going to be the biggest challenge for them.
It is tough, I guess, when you consider how news moves these days, each development that happens. Jason Whiteley, thank you so much for your time. Sure. Really interesting stuff. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. And folks, thanks for sticking with us here on Live Impact News. We're going to keep it with the political front because we've been seeing here throughout recent days and weeks names being tossed into the hat, if you will, for various state offices. We've got in South Carolina a governor's race that is starting to heat up. So we want to talk about the latest announcement that we saw official here, which is Representative Nancy Mace, who's launching her bid officially to be governor of South Carolina. Let's check in and listen to her announcement from just a little bit ago today.
Good morning, South Carolina. Thank you for waking up early before you head into work today. It's bright and early, beautiful day here in Charleston, South Carolina, on hallowed ground at the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. This morning, I'm making it official. I am running to be your governor of the great state of South Carolina. There we go, baby. South Carolina first. I want to thank Kevin Cunane, who is a 9/11 first responder, firefighter in New York. When he came up here, he was there on 9/11 on day one. So thank you, Kevin, for your service to your country. And the Cesura family. When I met the Cesuras and Sweet Tanner, who was run over by that vehicle on Sullivan's Island, that family brought me to tears. And that's what this is about. It's not about me. It's about the people of South Carolina. I didn't come to join the club. They don't want me, and I don't want them. I came to hold the line. They said, stay quiet. I spoke up. They said, sit down. I stood up. They said, play nice. And I fought back. South Carolina is tired of politicians who smile for the cameras, lie to your face, and then vanish when it's time to lead. I'm not one of them. I'm running for governor because South Carolina doesn't need another empty suit. It needs a governor who will fight for you and your values. South Carolina needs a governor who will drag the truth into sunlight and flip the tables if that's what it takes. South Carolina doesn't need another politician who folds when things get tough. It needs a governor who will always stand tall no matter the odds. I've walked into firestorms and I've come out swinging. I didn't flinch, I don't fold, and you know, I never run. While others played it safe, I said what needed to be said, and I did what needed to be done. This isn't about playing defense. This is about going on offense for you, for your family, for your freedom, and for your future right here in South Carolina. I wasn't built to kiss the ring. I just wear one. I don't answer to the establishment. I don't owe those in the back room a single thing. I answer to the people, and the people, let me tell you, are fed up. I've been all across the state of South Carolina over the last couple of months, and the people are fed up. They're fed up with sanctuary sheriffs who refuse to enforce the law. Yes, that happened right here in South Carolina, where we had leadership across the state, statewide, that stood silent as we had a sanctuary sheriff in our great state, letting out illegals who were rapists, letting out illegals who were murderers, and letting out illegals who were pedophiles and child molesters. That happened right underneath our noses, right here in South Carolina. You know what I did last year? I stood up. I spoke out. I basically ran against the sheriff, and the good people of Charleston County, right where we are today, you voted in a new sheriff who on day one started working with ICE. You did that. They're fed up with statewide officials who always stay quiet, the ones who say nothing, do nothing, and stand for nothing. They're fed up with violent criminals getting a slap on the wrist while good law-abiding citizens get ignored. They're fed up with schools that push politics instead of reading, writing, and arithmetic. They're fed up with weak leaders who talk tough on TV, then cave when it comes time to vote. Caving is what got us into this mess. I will never cave. I came to draw the line today and hold it, and we will do this together. So before I tell you where we're going, let me tell you where I came from. My dad was a retired Army general. My mom, who's here this morning with her shades on, looking good, Mama. She's a retired school teacher. She actually taught at the school that I dropped out of. And I made one of the worst decisions of my life, to drop out of school at the age of 17. And my parents didn't coddle me. They said it to me straight. They said, if you're going to stop going to school, you have to start going to work. So I took a job at the fine dining establishment known as the Waffle House. There we go, my Waffle House people. Denny's was a little too highbrow, right, Mom? Exit 203 in Ladson. My first job, I learned how to work hard. And while Waffle House was an important part of my journey, it would not be my destination. So I went from making waffles to making history right here where we are standing on hallowed ground this morning, the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, because 26 years ago, this summer, this high school dropout became the first woman ever to graduate from the Citadel Corps of Cadets right here. in South Carolina. A college where we don't burn American flags, we salute them. And right here on this hallowed ground, I guess almost 30 years ago, 29 years ago, I came storming into the gate, the main gate of the Citadel, probably shaking, nervous. I asked my father to help me drop my goods off in my dorm in the barracks, number 2 barracks, Paget Thomas Barracks, and he said no. I had to do it on my own. I remember my parents, my mom dropped me off at the barracks here at the Citadel. I asked for a hug. My dad shook my hand, and he said, don't call home if you want to quit. Just put on your shoes and start walking. And I didn't quit because I had something to prove to myself, because when everyone said, no, Nancy, you can't do that. No, Nancy, you will never make it. No, Nancy, you don't have the ability to be successful. No, Nancy, you won't win. I said, watch me. And I learned about having courage. I learned about having discipline. I learned what it takes to lead no matter the odds. Because leading a district, a state, a country means you have to do hard work. When you're doing it right, it's hard, it's not easy. And I learned right here at the Citadel how to hold the line, no matter the odds. And now I'm ready to hold the line for something bigger. And that means putting South Carolinians first. That means putting your families first, putting our workers first, putting our laws first, and our values first. Something that's been ignored for decades here in the great state of South Carolina. Not the illegals who are flooding our state. We have Sinaloa cartel here. We have MS-13. We have Tren de Agua. They are all here. And we will work with ICE better than ever to ensure that anyone who was here illegally gets deported immediately. We will work with ICE in every respect. If we need housing for ICE, we have it. If we need to have boots on the ground to help ICE, we will do it. We will do everything in our power. And we will not let another sanctuary sheriff dictate who gets to stay here when they're here illegally. We will not allow another sanctuary sheriff to let out rapists, murderers, and illegals who are here, who are child molesters, out onto the streets of South Carolina. Not on my watch. Now, we will hold the line against the gender cult that has invaded our schools. And we've seen it. Just a few months ago, I noted how Clemson University had 15 genders on a form. Did you know male and female were not 2 of the options? So you know what we did? We made a statement about it. And you know what Clemson did 3 hours later? They took the form down. And I'm not even governor yet. So imagine what we can do from the capital of Columbia when we are governor. We're going to hold the line against the elites who are clinging to power. We're not going to support the lawbreakers. We're not going to support the brainwashers, not the back room. South Carolina belongs to you, her people. I will hold the line on taxes by giving the state a plan to cut taxes down to 0% over the next 5 years, and we'll get to that in a minute. Because the fastest way to kill your freedom is to tax it. I will hold the line on illegal immigration by defunding officials who defy the law and promote sanctuary policies. Former Sanctuary Sheriff Kristen Graziano, this one's for you. If any sheriff won't enforce the law, you will not get a dime. I will hold the line on jobs by punishing businesses that hire illegal labor instead of real hardworking South Carolinians. If you cheat the system, you're going to pay the price. If you're a solicitor and you aren't prosecuting crime, I want you to listen up, because I am coming for you. The days of letting criminals walk the streets of South Carolina, not being charged, not being indicted, not being prosecuted, the days of treating victims like criminals and criminals like victims are over. The culture of coddling criminals and punishing victims is over when we're governor. I will hold the line on women and kids, and sanity and education by vetoing any funding to any college that pushes gender ideology and refuses to define what a woman is. If a school erases women, it erases its right to your tax dollars. I will hold the line for parents because parents, not the government, get the final say in their child's education. I'm not here to fold. I'm here to fight for you and your values. Together we will make South Carolina more prosperous, more educated, more healthy, and more safe. This isn't just a campaign, it's a calling for common sense, a calling for courage, and a call to put South Carolina first. So to the establishment this morning and the cowards hiding behind their long written press releases, buckle up. To the radical left, brace yourselves. And to the great people of the great state of South Carolina, help is on the way. You and me, this is where our mission ends. God is not done with South